Oops. There we go.
That is a totally epic intro, my friend.
It
Yeah,
is.
that was by Mr. Red Gaze.
I don't know why I always forget about the red dress thing.
I wish I could forget about it, Luke. I wish I
Right? Yeah. Yeah, that now is your cross to bear, isn't it?
could. Apparently. But hello, everybody out there on YouTube and Facebook. I seen folks from Red's earlier stream just hopping over to join us. Thanks for that. And today we have Mr. Randy and Luke Stone with us.
Yeah.
Hey there.
Thanks for having us today.
Yeah.
Good, for people who've been on the show before, and good people.
It's been a while.
Yeah, I'm glad to see you all back and doing the streams again.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
And
Yeah.
for those who don't know, poor Randy and Luke both had some health issues.
Yeah, COVID almost got both of us.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys were
Yeah.
laid up for quite a while.
150 days for me.
Oh my god.
150. How many for you, Randy?
Oh crap. I used to have that number in my head, but I don't now. 23 plus it was 15. It's about 3 weeks. No, about 6 weeks under. 6 weeks under.
And you guys both had to kind of relearn how to draw. You said, didn't you? I remember.
We had to
man.
relearn everything.
Everything. How to talk, how to swallow, how to walk, how to sit up on the edge of the bed.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's the thing when you're under the respirator long enough, every muscle in your body atrophies. Every
Every-
one. Including the muscles on the inside of your ear, your eyes,
Yep.
your throat, everything.
Your diaphragm, all of them. Yeah.
Yep.
Sim.
It takes a while to get those back.
Good morning, and don't forget, Luke and Zim, this is all my fault.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're the last one in. Good job making us late, Sim.
Mm-hmm.
No,
That's all right.
I own up to this one. I own up to
You are
this one.
forgiven.
I fell asleep after my alarm went off, and then I woke up, and I was like, oh, I got to get a shower and everything, and that took longer than I should have in the shower, and then.
What were you doing that took so long? Maybe no. I don't want to know. I don't
You
want to know.
know.
Never mind. I
You
don't
know.
want to know.
Probably
Yeah.
has something to do
Really
with something
getting
here.
those hard to reach places. You know?
Okay. Okay.
Luke, I was down for 40 days and 40 nights.
40 days and 40 nights, huh? Just like the ark there, man.
Just like the flood.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. 150. I'll never forget that. I woke up in my own house on the 151st day. I'll tell you what, it felt like $1 million. Yeah.
Oh,
Man.
you mean how long you were gone until you got back home?
Oh,
That was a
yeah.
lot longer for me. I thought
Yeah.
you meant under the respirator.
No, I was under the respirator for 70 days total.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
on
that's-
40.
72
gotta be-
days. Yeah.
That's got to be scary for everybody involved. You guys, your family, and everything. That long.
Yeah. What people don't realize is the toll it does take on the family. Like
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure Zim can testify to this.
Yeah.
His wife had to make some tough decisions. My wife had to make tough decisions, and
They called
you
her
know.
for a DNR with no explanation, and she waited for 3 days before she got any firm news.
so she probably
She
thought
thought-
she was a widow.
Yeah, she thought I was dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
She kept calling. They wouldn't give her any information.
Yeah, it's scary, you know. My wife, my dad passed away while I was under, and he lives in Indiana. And Indiana law says that the only one that can make any decisions. Man, I apologize for that. I have somebody coming up to the door, but Indiana law says that the only person that can make any decisions is the next of kin, and I'm the next of kin, but I'm put under, and they're like, well, he's the one that's got to make all the decisions. Well, he's not. She explained, like, he's not in a place to do that. She's like, okay, well, who's making his medical choices? She goes, well, I am. She goes, well, now you're making his dad's medical choices too. So she got kind of thrust into having to deal with both of that, you know. And so it was it was a rough time for her. And a lot of people, they've been praying for us and wishing us well, but our families suffered a lot too along the way.
She had to carry two burdens on her shoulders.
Two burdens, but yeah, I can't imagine being asked for a DNR, and then that's my daughter.
Hello.
Bringing me some coffee. Gotta get this thing going. No, I couldn't imagine being asked for a DNR and not hearing anything for 3 days.
Yeah.
Man, that had to be 3 days of absolute
not-
hell and torture.
Not just not hearing anything, but being refused information. We can't give you any information at this time.
Oh, that's even worse.
Then she
Man,
called
I'll
the
tell you.
hospital. She called the hospital quite often, from what I understand.
That's 3 days of hell right there.
Yeah, it is. It
Yeah.
is. I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
Yeah.
Let's see.
But we made
So-
it. We made it.
Hey, we made it.
So says to Luke, are you using a baby phone mic today?
A baby phone mic. Does my mic sound weird?
No, you sound good.
Sound
No, I actually got a new set of gaming earbuds that have a plug-in microphone, so that I can still wear my jaunty hat.
Yeah, that's
be on
what
these
I
streams.
need. That's what I need.
Yeah.
So I can wear
Yeah.
my hats. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good. I'll have to look into
I
it
lost-
myself.
I lost my green hat. The
Oh,
one that I was wearing on all the podcasts. It's gone. I think the hospital still has it.
Yeah, I have my Bluetooth little
Were you-
skull candy that works for this.
Boy, were you trying to podcast and stream from the hospital?
No, I just put a cap on my head. I was like I told everybody, I went in for antibiotics. I remember them coming to get me, and then I woke up 40 days later.
Yeah.
That's all. That's as far as the drugs will allow me to recall. But apparently, I put up a fight when I went down because they drugged me really good.
Yeah. You and me both, brother.
Phew.
They restrained me. I was fighting so much in my sleep. Yeah. But I've always known I've been that way.
Yeah,
Randy and I are fighters. That's why we're still here.
I'm sure that's true.
Strong in spirit. Let's see. So says, welcome to the early, late morning where we check out an all-star project from our circles. You know who I'm talking about. Good morning, Chris, Sim, Randy, Luke, and chat.
And
Good
what's up,
morning,
Pedro?
I'm never going to
Hail.
hear the end of it. Never going to hear the end of being late today. Only 7 minutes late. Not bad. Hello, Red. We got Darius Munchausen. Who's this? Who else is rolling around in here? Keely Chow. Hail, hail.
Hail.
Mr. Fisk is with us.
What's up?
Well, we're grateful that you guys fought through this. The world still needs you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
That's right.
Same here.
If you guys aren't around, who's going to put out cool books?
That's right.
Well, there's a few people that are stepping up to, to fill the void. But I tell you what, I've seen some of what Randy's been holding on to for the last couple decades of not, of just doing commercial art. Man, some of this stuff he's got is tremendous. Like Calico, can't wait till that comes out.
I can't either.
Hero Bot Zero, man, I'm telling you, that is one of my favorite books. I love that
Zero
book.
is part of that Long Shots book, so Long
Yeah.
Shots campaign. So at
Yeah.
least that one got printed, even though I'm
Yeah.
taking it in the ass. So
Long
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are.
Name of the game.
So I got on the hook for one book. Randy was on the hook for 3.
yeah,
Ouch.
but it's my book, Hero Bot Zero. It's a great anthology called
Yeah.
Revolt, and it's Russ Leach's Only Death Can Save Us. So
Yeah. So it's funny.
Quality
Yeah.
alone should sell all 3 of those titles.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Maybe
It's
2 out of the 3. Mine, the
No,
goofiness
no.
of it, the goofiness of it should sell real well.
Don't you say that, Randy, now.
Now, Hero Bot Zero it's gonna make it, man. That's a great book,
I
man.
just want to see the cartoon.
Yeah, man, that's cartoon and action figures.
And
Got
and the
written all over it.
Yeah, the irritating thing is that I was on Hero Bot 03 before I went under.
Yeah.
So 2 is already done.
We got Pedro with us.
Hail, Pedro.
Keely Trout says, if you're drinking coffee, make it from Geek Grind. Geek Grind is the official coffee of Nerdrotic and FNT. Oh, okay.
What's up, Kelly?
FNT. All right. I'll have to check it out.
But is there a Geek Grind NFT?
It says, keep up grinding, Pedro. You needed to pitch a sugar reality show. No, we don't. No, we don't. Don't give him ideas, Red, please. Let's see. I'm trying to check the chat. There's a lot of people talking today.
There are.
Mm-hmm.
It's all
It's,
good.
it's great to have everybody there.
It says he's a sleep farter, so he feels bad for him sharing a hospital room with him.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, that'd be hilarious. Um, Man, there's a lot that they do when they knock you out that I don't like to talk about. Like I woke up and they're like, well, Mr. Stone, you've got this and this and this. And I'm like, holy crap. Uh, yeah, it's a good thing you knocked me out because there is no way I'd have let you do that to me
Yeah.
any other way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mine was a list of ailments. Hey, do you know that you have blah, 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 and blah, blah? And I said, no, I don't.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know where you got that idea. I've never had it and never will have it, you know.
They're like, no, you got it. Yeah. Yeah.
So now that I'm back, I'm still having to go see silly specialists.
Oh, yeah. Good morning, Dave. Nice to see
Mr.
you.
Brink.
Morning.
He's got a great book, crowdfunding right now. Great book.
There's the link to the long shot.
Glorious 7. There we are.
Yeah, I'm telling you what, these books are tremendous. And I'm not just saying that because I'm trying to sell them. I'm saying that because I was genuinely excited, Chris and Sim, to be a part of this group of doing this for this campaign. We were told that they were going to get these 9 books were going to get placed into 60 retailers as a test market, and that if they went well, they could get picked up and go national.
I'm
Man,
sorry. That number was 100 to start with, and then it grew out to 920.
Oh, well, see, there's an inconsistency
Yeah.
in the lies there. I was told it was 60. But
That's
yeah,
why we printed. That's why they took 1,000 or 2,000.
but yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought
but it was.
just 100 to test at the start. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Of
but
course.
yeah, I was
you know,
excited to be a part of it. I mean, heck yeah. I mean, I get to work with a guy like Randy Zimmerman, who's a legend in the indie comic publishing
in
scene.
my own mind. Yeah.
In your own mind. I get to work with, J.D. Calderon, who's been doing this for a long time. J.D. Rosario, good friend of mine. The reason why I'm a CG guy is Anthony Figueroa and Marcus. Get to work with these guys, and Daphne had a book in there, and
Yeah.
Daphne Lage, and I mean, just a lot of really quality books. And I mean, I'll be honest with you guys, I kind of felt like I was like the weak link in that list. So I was super humbled and excited to be a part of it. And so all the books are tremendous, and the printing turned out great.
Oh, unbelievable! The printing is beyond
Yeah.
top notch.
I mean,
Couldn't read the books. When
I love seeing my book printed like this. The printer decided to do 3 staples instead of 2, so that it was a sturdier book, because they knew it was going to go into a retailer with people that weren't comic book fans. So these are kind of like the Walmart books where people are just grabbing them and chucking them in a cart or whatever. They get put in a bag, and
Yeah.
yeah, but they did a fine job. The printer did.
They're a lot more durable than your standard comic. The cover stock's
Yeah.
a little thicker. The interior stock is cover stock. It's just really nice. Just
I would
good.
venture to say that if you decide to get these graded, you're probably going to have a lot of 9.6 or betters in this. Yeah.
And also the cool thing about this is that these are all properties that are not going to go away. We
Yeah.
put together a sampler for that test market of a wide variety of material that we thought the masses would come in and enjoy.
Yeah.
That's why there's an anthology book. There's a couple of superhero books. There's a cosmic adventure book. There's a supernatural book. There's a hardcore fantasy book to start with. There's an anthropomorphic, like D&D fantasy book. And then there's real hard anthropomorphic animal. I don't mean animal, magical book with Oswald.
Yeah.
Just an incredible variety of eclectic mix of books.
It really
Now
is.
they're all available on the Long Shots campaign.
Yeah, you get the first issue for all those, and
these-
everything's
these-
getting a second issue.
Yeah,
Well-
these properties aren't going away.
No, they're not. And I remastered. Paid to have the comics remastered for my books. As a lot of people know, I'm doing signups for issue 8, and I'm drawing issue 9. So the books are continuing, but we've got with that one, all of my books up through 6 have been remastered to be re-released through Arrow Comics, because I believe in Arrow Comics. Here, let me tell you a story, Chris. This is funny. Um, when I first met Randy on a stream, I did not place who he was. I was just like, oh, Randy Zimmerman, okay. It wasn't until I was on a stream with him and Roland Mann, and Roland was like, Randy Zimmerman from Arrow Comics? And I was like, wait a second, that's that Randy Zimmerman? And I was like, holy crap, I've got books in my collection that's got your name on it, man. Yeah, so it was kind of cool.
I did a lot of stuff for a while. Took any job I could find, mostly like lettering jobs or consulting jobs, that kind of stuff, because I just love this business.
Yeah,
I
and
hate
you're,
I hate the big two, but I love this business.
yeah,
Yeah, I remember seeing Randy, and I was like, Randy Zimmerman, that name sounds familiar. And then I seen that wallpaper or whatnot you had where it had all your work on it, and that's I seen the Anniverse,
yeah.
and I was like,
Yeah.
and I immediately
that's the
started
guy.
fanboying. I was like, oh my god,
And the
oh my
Realm,
God.
the Realm,
Yeah,
that was a great book too.
I wrote a couple of issues of that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was like, oh my god,
way back when, right after Caliber took it over. Yeah.
yeah. What was that one that you had? One that had monkey on the cover. What was that?
What, Spank?
Spank.
Yeah, Spank the monkey.
That was wildly inappropriate.
I actually got it on the edge notation from Wizard because of that first issue cover. Nobody had ever seen the interior of that book. Here's my Spank the Monkey story. I was so fed up when I was doing Arrow Comics back in the 90s. I was so fed up with dealing with Diamond that and I had this character that I had done before in a few fanzines and some underground um, type, well, fanzines really, of Spank the Monkey, where he does comic book type commentary. So I figured I would do one final screw you to Diamond, and I would solicit for Spank the Monkey #1, and I would list and the description I sent to Diamond was all of the stuff off the top of my head. Spank wakes up in the morning. He loves coffee. He hates SUVs. Just pretty much me, all the way through. And I sent that description in with a picture of the cover into Diamond. And what happened is Diamond got a hold of Wizard and showed them the cover. Wizard printed the cover in Wizard magazine and in a box that said "On the Edge," and they literally said anyone who can place two monkeys between a woman's cleavage has got to be a genius. That's exactly what they said. And I'm like, I hadn't drawn any of the interior of the book because the whole interior of the book was going to be me bitching about the industry and literally flipping them off at the end and not publishing anymore because I was so fed up with Diamond. We had so many hoops to jump through and so many lines, the finish lines that were moved on us. Their silly minimums kept rising and they kept trying to keep us doing anything they could to keep us from having a successful book, that it was driving me crazy. And a friend of mine and I finally tracked down our Diamond rep at a Chicago con, trapped him in an elevator, and he said, look, you guys, anybody that's in the green section, Diamond just wants to have you guys dry up and blow away. They want you to leave. And so I said, well, okay, I'll leave. So I did that Spank the Monkey cover, and I love the cover. It's an iconic cover. I did it. I did another version of it online. Only I used an actual photograph of a girl, and it turned out really good. And instead of a bikini, she had her hands over her nipples. It's a great picture. But anyway, Diamond gives me a spotlight. Wizard gives me an On the Edge and says that stuff about me. So we do the Wizard Con. So we decide that I've got to do the book. So I've got to follow the description that I sent to Diamond in the book. So in a week and a half, I drew up Spank the Monkey #1, sent it to the printer, got it back. We did a Chicago con, sold an entire case of books. And at that point, a case of books was $250. We sold pretty close to 250, 300 copies cover price on that book just that weekend. And the reason we did that is we took that cover and blew it up the size of an old movie poster size and tacked it up behind us. People would walk by and go, oh, hey, I saw that book in Wizard. I have to have that book.
Yeah.
That was the power of Wizard magazine back in those days.
Yeah, it doesn't have that kind of power now, does it?
No.
No.
So anyway, I went through 4 more issues of Spank the Monkey and ran out of stuff to say, and then decided, and we were still running into them hoops from Diamond. So I did a 3-part Spank the Monkey on the comic market. that I was really proud of. And then at the end of that, he finally flipped everybody off after he explained the history of comics, the current run of the business, and why the business is so screwed up. Little did I know, coming back to it 10 years later after doing my own comic newspaper locally, um, that was advertiser supported, that the business would be even, especially the mainstream business, would be even more screwed up than when I left it. I just thought it would erode, but instead it mutated into something even worse on the mainstream side. But on the plus side, we got crowdfunding.
Yeah. It's always a shame when you walk away from the fridge and forget something in there. When you go back to it, it's grown eyes and ears, and and it's now
Strange green
talking.
hair.
Yeah. That's kind of what the comic industry was for you, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, the cool thing about the industry, if you go back and look at the history, which I love reading about comic history. Every time somebody gets screwed, every time, either that person or somebody around them figures out a way to work around that problem, and the art form grows.
Yeah. Comic
That's
creators are a tenacious bunch.
an incredible. Well, see, we're here for the love of it.
Yeah.
We figured out early on, the guys that were working on the original Arrow realized that it gets into your blood. Once you have that first book printed, once you hold that first book in your hand, you kind of make the decision right there if you're going to keep doing this for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And whether or not you keep doing it for the rest of your life, you still want to do it for the rest of your life. And you'll eventually come back to it or return. Look at all these people that have come back out of different art forms once crowdfunding started and people started thinking they could make a living at this again.
Yeah.
You're seeing all these great older creators coming back and doing just cherry work again.
Oh yeah.
For example, Walt Simonson right now is complaining he can't get any current work. Well, of course not, because he's too good. So he needs to go out and start doing some crowdfunding work.
That's right.
Yeah. I'll tell you,
I'd
there
buy
is
Walt Simonson.
there is no shortage of good books out there.
None.
Um,
The problem is marketing. There's not enough
Yeah.
people getting eyes on the
Yeah.
on the good books.
yeah.
And I find them all the time. That's why I love doing these kind of podcasts where we talk about crowdfunding books, because you find all of these gems out there. I'd have never known Octopus Cowboy existed.
Oh man, that's such a fun book.
What a crazy idea for a book, but what a great looking book. I can't wait to
Oh,
hold
yeah.
that in mind. Long Harbor
It's
is another
gorgeous.
big example from Alejandro. I forget the guy's last name. Beautifully painted New England style Cthulhu book. Took him, he was at least 2 or 3 years late. Thanks, Doug Tenable. In order to get that book out into people's hands. But once it got out there, beautiful.
Yeah.
Just cherry stuff.
So-
And even Ethan's book that I was just listening to a stream where he goes, I know I'm late. I'm doing the best work I've ever done in my life. I hope
Boy.
people hang around for it because
He-
it's beautiful.
He keeps posting pages of Wrecked Planet, and I'm like, gosh, it's tremendous the work he's doing.
Yeah.
But I think so. What's fun is I've got a stack of books behind me, boxes that came in while I was taking my nap,
Yeah.
and so I'm slowly going through each one of them, and every time I go through one, I'm like, wow, this is a gem. This is awesome. Check this out.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there's still disappointments out there. There's still
Oh, yeah,
books
there's always
that
gonna be.
I've gotten that were like, "Pfft, dude, this
Yeah.
is just trash. But the majority of these books coming out are from people that love being in this business and
Yeah.
they know how to be in this business. They just needed to figure out how to make a living at it.
Yeah, sometimes I'll give a new creator a shot and kind of see what they're made of, and I can tell usually with that first book if they get it and if their heart's in it, or if they're just trying to make a couple bucks, But
We got Mr. Briggs saying that he
Not anyway.
already have a few of these books, but he backed the long shots anyway. For that price, it's a freaking steal.
Yep, we
Yeah.
appreciate that too.
yeah, thank you
All
very
9
much.
books, only $25.
Yeah,
Let's
then we
check.
got and you see there right now you've got some bookmarks.
Bookmarks.
Yeah, we got a tier where people get all these metal bookmarks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only one of these books that I don't really know anything about is this Wellkeeper book. I'll have to look into
Well,
that one.
if you scroll up, you can see a description of the title, and you can see how great it looks. Take a look at that
Yeah.
line work there. It's
Yeah,
done-
I
done by
that, and I was like, that
D-Fish.
art's really nice.
Yep, it's a hardcore fantasy book that centers around a young girl who's with magical powers. It's just a phenomenal book. It's just a
That
um,
was the only book.
beautifully drawn book.
Yeah, that was the only book I wasn't already familiar with.
Yeah.
So, I mentioned a minute ago, taking a chance on a new creator. Well, here's the thing: every one of these, every one of the long shots, they're not new creators.
Yeah.
They've been doing this for a while,
Yep.
and they've got a solid market all of their own.
Yeah.
And so, they've been tested, and they've gotten, you know, they've gotten the kind of the fine tuning to what they're doing set.
And like
So
with Wellkeeper, that's a 12 issue story arc. It's already done.
Oh wow.
This work has already been done and been out there in that small little alternative comics market that we have that are small regions.
Yeah.
There's so many people, so many folks that have done great work since the 80s by themselves, pretty much for their local area or the conventions that they can easily drive to, because Diamond has is short-sighted not to see quality or not to promote the little guys enough with original ideas to try to expand this market.
well, they'd rather have 35 alternate covers of a crap X-Men story
Or Batman.
or Batman,
Yeah.
rather than give a shot to some
Yeah.
of these smaller creators
Yeah.
that are, just producing amazing stuff.
Mhm.
So when you back the long shots, you're going to get Wellkeeper, and you're going to be able to read that first issue, but you're also going to be able to get a hold of that creator and get
Absolutely.
the rest of
Yep.
those books because they're there. Now, what was going to happen was this was a 12-month deal that we were told about. So the books were going to go out 12 issues every month. So most of everybody had books ready for the full 12 months. Randy was creating some new books for it, and producing new things for those 12 months. I had up to 7 months covered, and I'm doing a total of after I kind of hooked up with Randy with Arrow, he kind of said, "Hey, maybe wrap up the main story here for issue 12. So you've got a year, cover all 12 months." And so that's what we've done. The books are written, they're laid out, all with the exception of issue 12, because it's I fell asleep. I took a nap, so I didn't get to finish that one yet. But
Yeah.
so it's you're getting. There's going to be 12 months or 12 issues of all of these books. At least that was the plan, and maybe some of them are a mini series, and then that slot would have been taken over by another short run of something.
Yeah.
But you've got book after book that you can ingest, and this is good stuff. Now we took the gamble
And some of these books are already self-contained, like Oswald Chronicles is really the origin of Oswald, and it's all
Yeah.
contained in one issue. It's a great story.
hmm
And it's in color. Originally, when it was offered, it was in black and white.
Yeah, JD is a tremendous writer. He knows what he's doing, and he works with great creators to make a beautiful book, and it looks even better in color.
Yeah.
Like I liked it in black and white, but seeing it in color, it just comes alive, and it's a fun read, and so yeah, you get all these. Now we took the gamble. We're the ones that assumed risk, and we were, we bet the college fund, the kids' college fund is what we did, but
To pursue our dreams that turned out
Yeah.
to be a fiasco. Yes.
yeah. But you and all the other backers out there, you're going to reap the benefits from this. 9 books for $25. That's unheard of. Even if you've got some of these books already, it's worth it to get these other books. And most of these books are going to be signed because we're all getting together up in Michigan, where we have possession of the books. Okay, there's been some question of whether or not Liberty still had the books or whatnot. No, we have possession of these books, and so what we're going to do is in June we're going to some of us are going to fly up, but we're all going to get together. We're going to package up books. We're going to sign books and get everything out to all the backers. So,
We
you
can't
know,
guarantee all of the books will be signed,
yeah,
but there's bound to be a surprise or two for a lot of
yeah,
people.
a good chunk of things.
Yeah.
And
You
it
know, we're
would be
going to try
good.
to do our best.
And it would be good to add that some of them also added some material, new material or new poster or stuff within the book
Yeah,
compared to what was back on the previous campaign, like
yeah.
Russ and Luke.
'Cause- yeah, all of the books are 32 pages on the inside
Well,
plus a cover.
Luke went through and remastered all of Hybrids one.
Yeah, yeah. Hybrids
So it
one
is
eighty.
different material.
Yeah, 80% of the book is different.
Yeah.
If you had the first issue, this book 80% of it's different. Plus, it has a backup story that is a book that Piper Steed and I are working on. Now we've decided to switch over artists to get the right look and feel for it. But you get to read that first 6 pages, and that's going to be another series that we're going to be launching this year. So, yeah. So, and a lot of the other books were, had extra content added to them to make that 32 interior pages. But yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with it. And I rave, not just because Randy's here, but I love Herobot Zero. that I read that, and it reminds me of, when I was buying some of those fun independent comics back in the day. It's just a fun read, man, and it's good for kids. I think it's perfect to get brand new readers into comics. I think it does the trick because it has the action, and it has the sarcasm that it goes great with it, and I think a little bit that the Herobot Zeros is really Randy, is what I think, because he's a little cynical. He has to. He only works if he's clocked in, and he demands overtime pay.
Time and a half.
And hazard
Yeah.
pay. Time and a half. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm like, as I'm reading it, I'm like, this is Randy, man. This is hilarious. But
Tippy Totek's a young kid whose parents own a tech company called Totek Tech, and Tippy has created a 3 foot tall giant robot that he wants to have defend the city because the city keeps getting overrun by giant monsters and other menaces. So he's getting ready to activate it. Well, the night before he activates it, the janitor that works at Totek Tech cleaning up bumps into that laboratory and sees a set of headphones that programs the personality of the robot, and he's looking, thinking that it'll play music. So he puts it on his head and starts working the dials, and his attitude ends up being zapped into Herobot Zero instead.
Okay.
So by the time they get the first giant monster that comes over, Tippy's runs into the laboratory to program it and to send it out, and it's already programmed and it's trying to get down. So, let me out of here.
Yeah, I was just about. We're gonna find out that it's an old comic book creator that got uploaded into the AI, and
There you go.
He just did it.
Yeah.
Somebody
that's
with
what
some somebody with some big two
Oh
experience.
man, I am.
Just enough to be better.
I'm way behind on the chat, gentlemen. Give me a second.
Yeah, let's take care of that.
Everybody.
Yeah, let's take care of that.
Says, that deal that scammed you guys was FNBS. I share Matt Fowler's sentiment and was happy that Dojo Kun investigated it.
He's not done.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's got more to.
And so
He's
and
got
it
one.
gets
And
deeper,
me, I'm
which is-
happy I
which is
touched that bullet.
aggravating. Yeah.
I have not kept up, I guess, with Dojo Kun's findings, but I am glad that somebody in like a more official capacity is,
Yeah.
stepping in.
And we're really happy
Let's
that
just
he
say-
had stepped in because he's
Let's-
got investigative experience.
Yeah.
And let's just say, Chris, for to catch you up a little bit. So right now, the last update was trying to figure out who B2B was, and if B2B was that got the money was not them.
I think we know who
It-
B2B is.
It gets worse.
It gets a lot worse
But
from
that's
there.
where we
It
were
gets
at, and that's where Dojo
Yep.
is
Yeah.
supposed to be doing the
Yeah,
next video.
that's why we're hoping that Dojo will make another report. He's hoping to do it by this weekend. He's still waiting for a little bit of information yet to come in.
I want to say
Doesn't
one thing.
exist.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I want to say one thing about Dojo. He has done all of this pro bono on his own.
yes,
Not getting
yeah,
paid for it, and he's running several campaigns right now too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And,
took the time to
the-
send him a message going, dude, this is great what you're doing. Because, dude, you didn't have to do this.
No,
Yeah.
You didn't have to, and that was great that he
Yeah. He's not just defending us, but he's defending any creator that could get
Yeah.
taken by a scam like this.
But he's
Yeah.
also
And
the one. He's also the one that reached out when Vinny was going through all that shit. Like I was reaching out to a whole bunch of people, and
yeah,
he's one of the ones that picked it up. He's like, dude, I'll take care of this, and he did. I'm
we
sorry.
should, we should. I'm telling you, there should be a lot more eyes on his campaigns
Yes.
because the man he's a class act human being. I mean, classy as they get.
We
and just a
literally
great
can't
guy.
thank him enough for
Yeah.
what he's
I need
already
to-
done. But
I need to get him
that
back on the
last
show.
that one last report that we're waiting on is going to be literally a tell-all, and I think there's a lot that people still don't know
Yeah.
that
I'll
that
say
will
one.
be coming out.
I'll say one thing, people. If you're hesitating into jumping onto this campaign, like it is previous books, right? Yes, and like they're saying, it they have some standalone stories. Some will be to be continued, but don't see this as just buying floppies or the first issues or something. See it as you're investing in Arrow comic type of thing. You're investing into them
Well,
continuing
and
this shit.
all of our publishers,
Yes,
are
so
in
they
the
can
hole on this.
continue this and build upon what they started. So it's like so they don't get stunned and stop there. It's for them to be able to continue that said dream and to be able to release issue 2 of
Yeah.
the other ones,
And these are
then
going to
the
be
new
collector's
IPs,
issues.
and eventually
Yeah.
have Arrow start again, like it was back in the days.
Yeah.
Oh, we lost Randy. And
So
all
it's-
these fellas have fulfilled in the past.
Yep.
I do believe so. So I'm not sure. Well, I'm not. I'm not
And
sure
I've
about
had
that. What was it? The well keeper. I'm not sure about that one, but I
Yep.
know all you other fellas
Yeah,
have
they
fulfilled.
Yeah, she is fulfilled. Officially is fulfilled.
Oh, okay, great. Then
yeah.
you don't have to worry about that. These people, you can trust them to deliver their books. They've fulfilled in the past.
Well, the reason why we fell for this thing was because we were all kind of ready to take and get into like that next step or next level of creating and publishing and things like that.
Well,
So,
we were offered a dream story that would have changed comics, is what it is, because these would have gone into a major retail outlet. They were going to be spread all throughout the country. Initially, we were told it was a test market, and then we were told it was going to go across the entire chain all at once. And come to find out, it was all just a pack of lies.
and I'll
Yeah.
say fictitch Saline.
Yeah,
But the
it's-
person who did it capitalized on our ability to dream and our desperate want to
Yep.
stretch out this art form.
And people, that's one thing you need to learn. Like I've learned through experience and bad experience, you could say. There's a lot of people preying on the desperation of creators wanting to make it and stuff like that. So be careful. There's a lot of snakes out there, and there's a lot of con artists, and all they want to do is profit off of you.
if you,
I had
And me, like I won't go too much into details, but when they reached out to me for this project, I asked a few questions, and I'm sorry, like maybe my business class saved my ass, but I asked a few fucking questions, and they could not answer basic logistic on how much, how many copies, how much I would get, where they would be, the rights and the this, and there was no answer, and then there was just no answer. And that was twice, and then Anthony reached out to me and I told him my worries. And
well, Sim, we had gotten all those answers.
yeah,
We had gotten all of those answers.
we had gotten a lot of empty answers and a lot of broken promises and
Yeah.
stalls.
but not on paper, right? That's what I'm
Not
saying.
on paper, no
Yeah.
physical evidence
Yeah.
until towards
Mhm.
the end, and then we found out the physical evidence was,
Yeah.
Yeah, but
in my
dude, you
opinion,
you
greatly
do not.
forged.
They would not like
Cheaply
like
forged,
Anthony
actually.
said, like nobody signs a big deal on a Friday, right? It's like
Yeah.
nobody starts a fucking a few $1,000 deal without a freaking paper.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a Monday kind of deal.
Yeah.
That's a let's get together Monday morning, 10 a.m. to sign that kind of paperwork. So I mean that was the first, that was kind of the first for some of them, kind of the first tell that things weren't right.
yeah,
But
I didn't keep up with. I haven't kept up with like what Dojo Kun's found but I basically came to the conclusion that either the interim, that little in between company, they scammed them, or the
But that's
or
where
they
they're
were
at.
doing the scamming to you.
Well,
Either way, they messed up. They were
Dojo's got the answers
But
to that.
that's where they're at, Chris. That's the thing, is that they were at the point of trying to figure it out. Are they also part of, like, did they get scammed, or are they the ones behind B2B
So
and the
yeah, so
entire scam?
Dojo,
Yeah.
Dojo does have the answers on that. He will be releasing that. He's waiting for one more piece of information to come back from the credit card company, and so
And it's probably information that doesn't exist
yeah, probably.
at this point, in my opinion.
Yeah. For me, at this point, like either way, they're at fault,
Yep.
either through incompetence or through nefarious reasons.
Lack
And
of
I wouldn't do
transparency,
any
at
business
least.
anymore with them.
No, no, no.
That's what I told the wife. If it's not a deal, they're shits. And if there was a deal, they're still shits.
Yeah.
well, we know unequivocally that Spencer's was never part of the deal. They never knew anything that was going on. In fact, they have asked us to keep their name out of our mouth in so many words.
Oh.
Yeah, keep their name out of our mouth so that because they're like, look, we don't know anything about this. We've
We
never
don't-
been
we-
interested.
We
in it.
don't mean to disparage them in any way.
I'm gonna get a message
They've-
soon from YouTube.
Yeah, they've
getting
never
back
had
to
any
my
interest in
videos.
carrying periodicals.
Yeah, but
It's
here's
the
the thing.
official word.
Yeah, still buy from Spencer's. Don't be mad at them.
Yeah.
It wasn't them.
It
It was, to be honest with you, it was 100% Liberty Distribution. And then we didn't even hear about this B2B until after the crap hit the fan.
That was
And then-
that was a big surprise. It come
Yeah.
out of nowhere. Hey, out
Yeah.
of left field. Hey, I'm a
so-
victim too. But we
Me-
know that a lot of con grifters pull that.
Yeah, because when they reached out to me, there was nothing of an in-betweener. It was directly with their Spencer thing.
No, I'm telling you what, if we'd have known from the beginning that there was a middleman, none of us would have signed up for this.
Well, I
Yeah.
thought I knew this guy. That's why I signed in.
Yeah, I mean that.
You know, I
even-
podcasted with him.
Sounds
for
more
years.
like a scapegoat
That's
type
why I
of thing.
signed in. But I was turned into a scapegoat.
Yeah, even if you take away all
He
the
rallied on
bullshit-
my reputation in the market in order to gather
Yeah.
everybody else too, and I particularly resent that.
Yeah, but that's what
and,
I.
and,
Yeah.
and you know, I feel sorry that I was ever even remotely involved.
Well, he did the same with JD. Because I signed up because Randy and JD Calderon were in it. And everyone was like, hey, these guys, because he sold such a good bill of sale to us. And he had answered all of the pertinent questions, everything that we needed to know. And he sold that deal like he had it because he had a relationship with someone at Spencer's.
Yeah.
So he had a direct connection. That was exactly what was told to us. And so we find out that all of that is a lie, we all have
When we started pressing him for evidence, it was always stalled, delayed, stalled, delayed. This is going on. Well, that's over here. Well, where is this? Well, so and so's got it. I don't have it with me at the time. Or
Man, where are
what
the
the
books?
f ever?
yeah.
Just one big grift after the next.
Yeah, but we're trying to make lemons out of lemonade.
Yes.
We're trying to use that duck crap that we got covered under as fertilizer, and as Ethan Van Sciver would say, I heard him say on a podcast, when the rubble comes down, you have to find a way to make the rubble bounce, and that's what we're trying to do, and get this book into as many hands as we possibly can. So we're running the Indiegogo now. It will end very soon, and then as soon as that's done, we're going to run it on Kickstarter, and that's funny because thank you very much, Fowler, because that Kickstarter campaign is called "Wait in the Car Candy."
Yeah, it's
Hey, Chris in the chat, Chris Fisk in the chat is absolutely right. This whole thing has damaged indie comics in general.
And I don't know if
Yep.
Anthony
Thanks.
told you, but you mentioned it on the stream that I also offered 3 free sketch cards in there.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're all
The-
doing
the
sketch
peop-
cards for it. That'll be-
People get to pick their characters, so they'll get to pick the IP they want, and I'll draw the character they want.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean,
Nice.
this is just another one of those things that people from maybe taking a peek in at crowdfunding is going to see, and they're just going to be like, why would I do get involved in this?
Like
Yeah,
I
but
like to say, this campaign is about turning a bad situation into a good one, making the good out of a bad situation.
Well, not only that, but the next person that if there's somebody that's inventive enough at a retail chain, a large retail chain that says, hey, maybe we should carry comics, this is a nightmare story for them. And it's going to discourage people from trying to get comics out into alternate means of distribution. And the people that have grifted us in this should be ashamed of themselves because they've damaged the art form in general.
They have.
And I take that particularly personal.
Talking about retail, you do have a retail tier in there, right, for stores?
No, but retailers can contact Anthony Figaro, and we can make arrangements.
Yeah.
There you go.
Arrangements will definitely be made.
Oh, we
Any
have enough
retailer that
books.
wants to carry these books.
Yeah, we
We
have
have
enough
plenty
books.
of books already on hand, ready to be. In fact, if a retailer wanted them quickly,
We can have them to them this next
contact
week.
Anthony. Yes.
Yeah, we can give them to them this
Contact
next week. And the cool thing about that is we're offering retailers a very steep discount, So they're going to make money off of these books. And if in the regions that we're at, I know I'm willing to go to a local shop and do a signing there to help promote and sell those books.
I do it in a
So,
heartbeat. Yep.
Yeah, so I know all 7 of us would do that for certain.
Maybe I need to reach out to Anthony then. Maybe I'll get me a retailer bundle, and then I can get a booth at like Steel City Con or something, and
Yeah.
try to
It's one
sell
of the-
them for folks or something.
Well,
like
let's
that.
fulfill
Told you
the
that was a good
campaign
idea,
first before we do anything, on a huge discount type thing.
Yeah.
Let's see, but we got. Let me see here. Brian Sunfield says, "Did you all get a long format compiled sizzle video of all the books yet?" Sizzle video?
We have not. I know what he's talking about. Long format sizzle, like where we go and show all of the stuff in there. No, we don't have a long format yet on that, but probably not going to happen. We'll probably keep our short format videos.
Yeah.
Because we're trying not to spend any more money to sell these books. But sadly, we've spent a lot of money already.
We're already way in the hole. Luke and I, especially, are deeply in the hole. I'm in 3 times more than Luke is
Yep.
on the printing end alone, and then on top of that, we have our medical bills to cover. So
Yeah, I just found out that my
Right.
last year's medical bills total 1.6 million.
Oh my gosh!
1.6 million to keep my sad butt alive. That's
Wow.
yeah. Thankfully, insurance is covering the biggest chunk of that. But but yeah, we still have bills to pay. Randy's in 20 grand for printing and for production cost.
It's 16 if you have to be technical.
16 grand. Okay.
Yeah.
Still,
and it's
I mean,
almost exactly 16 because of anyway, long story.
Yeah.
But my first 40 days in the hospital, the time that I was under the respirator until I got out, because when I woke up, they moved me to a different wing in the hospital, which was a different hospital system that was renting from the hospital that I was at under the respirator. But the time I was under, because they specialized in COVID and protocols, but whatever. While I was under the respirator until I woke up, 300,000.
Sheesh. Yeah.
Wow.
300,000.
Yeah, I'm already for this year. I'm already over 20 grand, and I've spent 2,200 out of pocket already. And we're just in March, so yeah, it's expensive. So yeah, please buy the books. We need to make our money back. We
And you
need
won't
to make
be-
our money
You won't
back.
be disappointed by the quality
won't,
or the
no.
content.
Yes.
It's just a great package.
Yeah, I would recommend backing this, especially if you don't have any of these books. I have a few, certainly, and I've read them, and what I've gotten so far is quite good. I quite enjoyed them, so I would certainly recommend these. I'm trying to remember if I have Interceptor. I think I do.
Shield of the Interceptor. Yeah, dude, that's a great book. It's drawn by
Unstoppable
Russ Leach.
Comics, yeah, drawn by the great Russ Leach, who
Oh,
also
man.
did Only Death Can Save Us.
Yeah, Russ Leach is a tremendous talent.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. 24 Odd says, I get the package deal thing you're doing, but I think you should still have the ability to pick up single copies as an add-on.
That may come up later.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had Katie joining us, but she says she's going to be leaving in a bit.
Thanks, Miriam.
Always
The
good
thing
to
with
see Katie.
this is there's like 7 different publishers? Let me think.
Yeah, I think 7 creators,
2, 3,
5 publishers. I think.
4. Yeah, I think you're right. 5 different publishers, and all those publishers still control those IPs.
Yeah.
And still control the books that they had printed.
Yeah, because I'm under Randy as a creator. He's my publisher.
But
And
he's
I
pretty autonomous when it comes to
Yeah.
that IP. Yeah.
Yeah, and I create under my studio name, Luke Stone Studios, and if I have a book that's good enough, I take it to Randy, and he decides if he wants to publish it or not. So that's how we're working that out. But yeah, so I stay pretty autonomous. But so it's Arrow Comics, it's what is JD's?
Dreamweaver Press.
Dreamweaver, Unstoppable Comics.
I'm not sure if Wellkeeper is under
Wolfpack.
Dreamweaver or if it's under
I
Deep
think
Fish
it's-
is independent.
I think it's on its own. I think it's on its own.
I know
Wolfpack and then Deep Fish.
Dreamweaver funded it, but
Yeah. Mhm.
I think she's still printing it on its own.
Yeah, yeah.
Oswald's Dreamweaver, Only Death is Arrow.
Yeah.
God's Hand is Wolfpack, and Interceptor is Unstoppable Comics.
Yeah.
Let's see.
All great companies, man.
Paris tell me to
Hard
check for backers. Let me see. Scroll up here and refresh. No, Jacob Pillrider, you got me excited.
There's metal bookmarks, there's trading cards, there's sketch cards, there's prints, there's original artwork that's included. There's a couple of tiers there in the 1,000 and 2,500 range where we're binding the books together into a. I'm not sure if it's a hardback binding or
It is a hardback.
It's a
There's only
hardback
going to be
binding.
10 of.
Oh, wow.
There's only going to be 10 of those made.
so you can
and
put
so-
them on your shelf and
Yeah,
be
so you get
constantly
the-
reminded.
Yeah, you get the floppies, but you also get the hardbound collection in one book. There, and you're getting original art. You're getting a great pack, carrying case and stuff like that for all of the stuff. Metal bookmarks, metal prints. It just goes on and on and on what you get for the $1,000 and $2,500 range. And there's only a couple of those available.
Yeah, you're getting. Like
And then
a
down
chest
below
full of
that
stuff.
is our executive package, and a lot of
The
people
executive
think that's a
package.
joke, but it's not. It's 10 grand. We'll give you a car. Well, not give you a car, but we'll rent you
Rental
a car. We'll rent you a hotel room. We'll all meet together in Spencer's parking lot, and we guarantee
Yeah.
that you'll never get in the building.
Yep. And then
After
we'll
that,
take you to
small
dinner.
party in the parking lot. We'll take you out to the Texas Roadhouse that we all celebrated this great deal on. Even maybe even have you ride the sawhorse that's there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And
then
then
after
give you a
that,
tour of
the
a comic
next
book
day,
basement.
We'll
Yeah.
give you a tour of a comic book store's basement.
Yeah.
And if you ask nice enough, we'll even give you a tour of Central Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be.
But this is a serious offer. We're all willing to fly in on our own dime
Yeah.
and be part of this experience with you.
Nita Lanning and Daphne Lage will also give you a 1 hour spot on their show just to talk about, you doing that.
Your
and
experience,
and your experience and everything. So it seems like a joke, but it's not. Like, we're, if someone wants to invest
Again, we're
into
trying
us
to make
that much.
lemons out of lemonade out of lemons, and this will be a nice lemonade party.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, we'll treat you well.
Treat you well.
We'll treat you better than we got treated, that's for sure.
Amen.
Yeah, and I missed the trip to Egg Harbor because I was in the hospital at the time. So I'm looking forward. I hope someone gets it so I can go to Egg Harbor with everybody and enjoy that Texas Roadhouse, even though I've got one right down the road from me.
And that was only 2 weeks before I went in.
Yeah, 2 weeks before you
I was
went
out
in.
there,
Yeah, that was a couple days before I was intubated. I was intubated on August 30th, and I woke up on October 6th or 9th. I can't remember clearly, but then I was stayed on the vent a total of 70 days. So I actually left the ICU and went to a LTAC, which is a long-term acute care location where they weaned me off of the vent. So I was on that vent for a long time. So I'll be looking forward to hanging out in Egg Harbor and seeing that parking lot that I've heard so much about.
It's a big parking lot.
Is it nice? It's a nice parking lot.
It's a nice parking lot.
Nice parking lot.
Oh,
Yeah.
let me see here.
The Italian lunch that we had was also very nice.
Says he's going to
Yeah.
listen from his bathroom now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're listening to my soothing voice while you're sitting on the toilet, man. Maybe I can help the movement a little. Let's see. Parrot says if he owed 1.4 million, he'd fake his death and go live with Johnny. Down in South America.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let me check. Let's see. Chris, I thought you were stalling Cedar to tell a story. No, 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 no. See, that's the nice thing about today. Luke and Randy have both been around. They know some of the shenanigans. I don't have to worry as much.
We were in the middle of the shenanigans.
Yeah. We were in the middle of the fudge.
Unfortunately, we were the patsies in the shenanigans.
Yeah. Yeah. And we do talk about fudge now. We talk about fudge.
Yes.
But this is no fudge, just cream.
Just scream.
Just cream.
We don't talk about fudge. Screams and scams.
Schemes and scams.
Gosh.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know-
like Jimmy.
I was friends with him before he went off the deep end.
Oh shit. Them
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to when he first came on the scene,
I also witnessed that firsthand.
listened to him. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then he went way out.
Yeah, I was like, I kind of felt like that Homer gif, where he sinks back into the bushes. I was like, oh no.
I was supposed to. I was part of that supposedly Discord meeting. I walked in at the end, and yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I have a great clip from Ethan that I play on my show all the time where he says, "What the fuck's the matter with people in this business?"
And only death can
Any
save us.
business when you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Only Death Can Save Us is such a cool book. Now, if you've gotten Russ's like his
Go ahead.
the bigger book, the kind of the trade size book,
The collection.
the collection. This is broken down into, the beginning of that into.
This
a-
is
a
the
32-page
first
book.
third of that book plus new material.
New material.
I believe there's a few pages in the front that are brand new, and then an entire story in the back, and a number of other pinups that Russ did to include into the first issue to get people into the property, because all of these books were really made for the mass market to come in, or the mass populace to come in and buy. They were meant for the person off the street to come in and get a sampling of what comics can be and should be.
Yeah.
Brian says he thought it was a joke, but sounds like good fun. Sorry he doesn't have 10K.
I'm sorry you don't have 10K either.
Yeah.
I joke. I'm having fun here.
Well, we've been talking about doing like an annual meetup. We should, all get together at a convention at least,
Yeah.
as often as possible, once, twice a year.
Yeah.
Just because we became fast friends over the
We did.
airways for this. So
Yeah. I mean, you.
we were all sharing in a dream.
Yeah.
You know.
And
We were
when you
gonna
suffer
change
with people,
Yeah.
when you suffer with people, you make a connection. And these guys are great guys. I think your audience probably particularly has seen a few of them on streams. But I met JD Rosario through this deal, and
Yeah. Same here.
and he's a great guy.
Seems like a nice guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, just kidding. He is a good
Seems
guy.
like I mean, he goes to bed early, but he's a mailman. So I mean,
By day.
we're always
Mailman
worried.
by day, comic
We're always worried about him going postal.
Yeah.
I
Hello.
joke, not really. Hey waka waka.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think the only person that hasn't been a guest on my show here is the well keeper person.
Yeah, I haven't met her personally.
I haven't either.
I assume is it
But JD knows it real well.
yeah, JD knows her real well. So I am friends with her on Facebook now, so she posts fun stuff. She was posting about her book. She decided to do a word count, and for curiosity, she wanted to check how many usages of the F word and its variations were in her books. It turns out it was like 900 and some
Oh my God.
variations of the F word
Wow.
in her collection of books that she's written. And I was like, that's like Sam Jackson levels here.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
That's quite a bit.
Yeah, yeah, but that particular post made me laugh
Okay, let me get-
pretty heartily, actually.
No, no, Pale Rider. No, I do not agree to this. I've not signed any contracts. Let's see. Yeah, I'll probably, I'm going to back this one. Let's see. Because I mean, heck, $25 to get all of these books.
Yeah,
That's a heck of a deal.
I mean, you're not going to find a better deal in indie comics
Yeah.
this year, or maybe in the next couple of years, with the paper shortage, the increased gas prices causing all the shipping to go up. I mean, you're gonna. Now, I think this is a $10 shipping because we're gonna package it nice and solid. Everything I think is bagged and boarded on this one. I think is how Anthony and Marcus want to do it, and yeah. So
It'll
so
be
basically,
shipped in a Gemini mailer,
yeah,
and it's just right to fit nice and snug with a little bit of bubble wrap around it in a Gemini mailer.
yep. I mean, yeah, it's good stuff.
Brian Sudnield says, thanks, guys. We'll see us all later.
Thanks, Brian.
Thanks for joining us, Brian. Let's see. Soul's giving Mike Jimmy hell. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
That's always fun.
Oh, my.
Like Jimmy hangs out on Nerd Bacon with me on Thursday mornings when he's free.
Oh, good.
So yeah,
We've
it's a
had
lot
him
of
on
fun.
Sunday Funnies quite a bit. So life on Cora, just
Life of
an
Cora.
amazing
Yeah.
amazing idea for a book.
It really is. And it's fun. It's fun. I like when people make comic books that are kid centric. Not necessarily kids, but especially kid friendly, because we need more. The only way you're going to get new readers is, like with me, I started reading comic books when I was 5 years old. I fell in love with comic books at 5, and we have to have content that they can. Back then I could read a Marvel comic book, and without any worry of negative stuff being in there, things my parents didn't want me to read. But it's nice now to see so many, especially indie creators, doing stuff that a young reader, a brand new reader, can grab a hold of and be safe with.
Well,
And
quite frankly, that's why manga has got such a foothold now in the American audience, is
Yeah.
because of properties like Dragon Ball Z and Naruto
yeah,
and Pokemon that was able to attract a younger audience and then a younger reader. And then that reader grows up and realizes that it's okay to read books in reverse, I guess.
yeah. Well, I don't have any
Give 'em
hate
all
towards
sorts of
manga at all.
Reading problems.
Yeah, I don't have any hate towards manga at all.
Oh,
I love manga.
There's a lot of
but
really great and inventive manga out there. A lot of really good stuff.
But my love is for traditional American comics,
Yeah.
and
Right.
I want that medium to succeed, and so I like finding people. Like one thing I'm getting ready to do is I'm putting the Rift Rider story, one of the Hero Bot Zero stories, and if anybody's out there who's got a kid friendly book, Mike Jimmy, I'm looking at you, and you've got a short story like 3, 4, 5 pages that you want to put in a book. Instead of doing candy this year, we're printing off these kid-friendly comic books, and I'm putting it all together in one issue, and that way we can give them a taste of, good comics. And we're going to be the house that gives out comic books, and we're going to get all those printed through 3D Zach, because he offers a great price, and we're trying to keep that money inside of the indie community as best we can. So
Yeah, that's the thing I was trying to get to do with Alterna Comics and that Alternaween campaigns was give out their comics on Halloween.
yeah. I'm not lying. I totally got the idea from that, to give out comics for Halloween, and I did it because I had a bunch of comics left over that that were misprints, and I'm like, here, I'll just give these out, and then now, but I want to be more intentional. I want to introduce them to the Rift Rider story and to Hero Bot Zero, and other great properties like that. So I want to throw those, put those in their hands, and even if they don't read it, their mom and dad will read it. They're probably, yeah, I'll check this out, and we'll find new readers, we'll find new fans. That's what it's all about, is finding unconventional ways, out of the box ways to reach more people and make new comic book fans. And that's why we bit this hook, line, and sinker with the whole Spencer's deal, because we thought this was the opportunity to step outside of the box, circumvent the gatekeeping diamond that
Amen.
that's there,
Yes.
and get books in the hands of people
Yeah.
that could potentially be brand new readers and fans.
Get comics out to the masses. That's.
Yeah.
I used to give away my newspaper for Halloween. So I had a quarter folded tabloid newsprint newspaper that I would do, that I would throw comic strips, comic book stories, single panel strips, anything that I could find that I thought was quality in, and we'd give it away for free. It was advertiser supported. It'd run, like a newspaper. We'd run ads, but we gave it away for free, all throughout about a 25, 50-mile radius of my house. And one thing that I learned while doing that for 10 years, did 100 issues, printed 10,000 of each issue. The one thing I learned is that most people, love to read comics. If they've got a sense of humor, sense of adventure at all, they love reading comics. It just has to be accessible to them.
Yeah.
Now, this is why you had these great newspaper strips back in the 30s. People could plop down a dime for their daily newspaper and get the next adventure of Flash Gordon or Dick Tracy or whatever, even if it was in short bursts. But that's literally that's why comics were formed, is that they took those newspaper strips and stuck them together all into a bound book, stuck them on the stands for a dime.
Yeah.
But
the comic book came from converting that.
Yeah.
Well, it came out of the greed of the publishers who wanted to make more money off of the strips that were in the paper that were really successful, and two, they needed to keep their presses wet.
Yeah.
The newsprint presses would run a morning edition and an evening edition, and between those times, if the presses sat still, the black ink especially would dry and harden, and it'd be a bitch to clean. So in order to keep those presses wet, they printed off. That's how come you got all sorts of paperback books. Anything that was printed on newsprint back in those days, a lot of times were done to keep the presses wet and to try to make money at the same time. And nobody really grasped how much money a little, those dimes all add up. Even if the publisher's only getting 5 cents a hit and the newsstand person's making a nickel a book, that kept a lot of people, with a lot of, feeding their families and paying their bills for a long, long time. But it was always looked at as secondary because it was just what was done between the newspaper printings.
And everybody wanted to get their work in the newspaper. They didn't just want to be filler in these comic books.
Getting a comic strip turned you into a superstar.
Yeah.
At that time. Nowadays, it's almost exactly the opposite. You have to have 2 or 3 strips in order to try to barely squeak by a living, unless you have outside merchandising. But back then, paperback books, big little books, all of this inventive stuff come out because they needed to keep those presses wet and keep and that's why a lot of the big little books are all recognizable comic strips. And the size of the big little books were square. A lot of folks now don't even know what I'm talking about. But they would take the 4-panel strip and cut that down, take out the word balloons, and run a block of prose in the opposite page. So you had the strip picture and then a box of prose, or page of written word of what the picture on the box described. But yeah, comics have always been secondary nature, or have always been looked down on as secondary literature. That's why the Superman strip was originally a comic strip and was cut into comic book pages for Action 1. And why the Siegel and Schuster were so easily bamboozled out of the property, because it was all looked down upon at the time.
Yeah.
Well, we'll give you $130 and we'll just own Superman. What do you think about that?
Yeah. And now the comic books are starting to become a little more popular, but they're still looked down on, and indie is really looked down on. So,
well, it's a $1 billion business. Obviously, the
Yeah.
imagination is a $1 billion business, and the art form of comics is so great for the
It is.
individual, for the single creator. The independent and alternative market is, because somebody can still get their own personal vision out there on paper, even if they have to hire an artist or they have to hire letters and colorists or whatever, in order to get their own personal point across. That's why crowdfunding is so freaking awesome.
Yeah. Crowdfunding and webcomics and
And webcomics, especially. Yeah.
There's so many different ways now to get your vision, your story out there.
And there's more ways coming. People just have to dream them up.
Yeah.
And that's why it's sometimes these dreams go south, and that's why we have the long shots
Yeah.
campaign.
Well, I'm a big fan of one particular ride at Disney World. It's the Carousel of Progress, and that I love that idea because Walt kind of had that same mentality that it starts with a dream, and then man follows that dream with his mind and his heart, and then it becomes reality, and that reality then becomes a dream for somebody else, and then they uh, imagine and envision something, and then they build it and make it a reality. And I think that's the beautiful thing, especially about comic books, because it is all about imagination. It is all about thinking about these worlds that don't exist, and characters that only live in your mind. One of the things I've always wanted when I was 14 years old was a comic book series that had a role playing game attached to it, and so I've worked with a guy, Nick Tockard, to develop a role playing game for hybrids, and it's one of those things where now it's like this world that I get to live in my imagination, other people can experience in their imaginations, and they can build upon it and stuff. And it's just great because comic books allow us to do that, and that's why it's so important to invest, especially invest in indie creators, people that are doing it. And here, we call this long shots. It sounds like a gamble, but it was a gamble for us, but it's not a gamble for you. You're going to get quality books. You're going to get, fun stories, and it's going to be money well spent for you. So we encourage you to jump on board and back it, and so we can get you some copies of some great books.
Mike Jimmy's saying to Mr. Luke, he says, mind brainstorming for a bit, since my writers only do 32-page stories for the issues so far, but I'm sure we can think something up.
Sure, yeah. DM me later, and we'll have a conversation, man.
And then he says whenever he goes to cons or has to be on long train rides, he puts his comics and art in sleeves and leaves them at his seat for the next person to pick up.
That is a great idea.
Yeah.
That is a great idea. And some of my first issue here, so I've got so many of them. I would never in a million years think I'd print 3,000 copies of one of my books. Because I almost 1,000 is as high as I've gotten. So I'm gonna have a lot of extra books here to use as I'm gonna donate to libraries, so they can put those out there, and yeah, that's a great idea, Jimmy.
Well, with
Jimmy.
the comic paper I used to do, nothing would make me happier than to walk into a bathroom stall and see it draped over the handicapped rail.
Yeah.
And there was one Italian restaurant that's pretty close to my house that would take one page of the comics, because when I reprinted a comic strip, I'd reprint a whole page of that strip. They take that page and tack it on a bulletin board above the urinal, so people had something to read while they peed. So
Nice.
Comics are everywhere. You just have to put them there. Just
Yeah.
like Mike Jimmy leaves his comics in a sleeve for some passerby, he might be making a new comic fan every time somebody picks that book up. We don't know.
Yeah.
But it's important to get the word out that this is a phenomenal art form and that it's accessible to everybody, and everybody who wants to do it should be doing it
Comics belong to everybody.
in any way they can possibly find to do it in. Yeah, they used to wrap bubble gum in comics.
Yep.
Those old Bazooka Joe.
Bazooka Joe.
I gotta be honest with you. Like I said, comics belong to everybody, but you don't have to like everything.
Yeah,
But everything deserves to be created, deserves to be made. I think, so you find the stuff that you like, and
you go into
And,
truck stops, you can find those old chick publications every once in a while laying around.
yeah.
They're comics about religion. Who knew?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I'm a pastor, I have people think that, oh, is your comic book Christian? I'm like, no, it's not. It's not a Bible track, not at all. It's just superheroes beating
Entertainment.
up on bad guys, man. It's
Yep.
fun. It's just fun stuff. Yeah.
the only reason I ever chewed Bazooka Joe was for the comic.
There you
Yep.
go.
Yep.
Yeah.
The gum was terrible.
Horrible.
The comics were great.
Not as bad as the gum you'd get in baseball cards or on those little
gosh,
sticker
yeah.
packs.
Man,
I don't
remember-
think I ever even. I think I tried those one time. I tried
That's
that.
all
gum.
you
I was
have
like,
to
"Ugh."
do.
I was
That's
like,
all you
"Ugh."
have to try is once. You learn.
Yeah, I was living in Lakeland, Florida, and we had a 7-Eleven right around the corner from us. And at that 7-Eleven, there was those exclusive cups that had Marvel characters on them.
Oh, heck yeah.
And my mom would take me over there to get a slushie in one of those cups, and so I could collect those cups. Man, I'll tell you, that was what a great feeling, man. I was excited about that and those characters, and then
And it was always an oddball character too. It's like
Oh,
Tigra.
yeah.
What the hell?
Tigra.
The Tigra.
Yeah, but then that made me start searching for the comics and
Yes.
learn more about that character
Yep.
and falling in love with some of these, kind of like B-level characters,
Second
C-level
bananas.
characters. Yeah,
Yeah.
second, third string characters, man.
Awesome
and
stuff.
it's great stuff. And
Hey,
some of the coolest
Marvin.
like characters, some of the coolest creators, writers, and artists start out on those second and third string books that nobody knows about
Yeah.
because that's if I was trying to break into the big two, I wouldn't go and say, hey, I want to work on Spider-Man. I'm not going to get that. I'd find the most obscure character that no one wants to work on. I'm like, let me draw that one. You
Yeah,
know?
and then you have the editor up there go, and this actually happened to me. Had the editor look me straight in the eye and go, "We actually own this character."
Yeah, cheers, buddy.
I said, yeah. He says, yeah, you do, but I'm done. I'm never going to offer anything to you guys ever again. If your editors don't know what you own or don't own,
Yeah.
there's a problem.
Yeah, that's a sad state.
It is a very sad state, and this was 20 years ago.
Wow.
So it's only gotten worse.
Yeah, it's not gotten any better.
Let's see. Taylor says he's still waiting. He needs a comic that strippers will buy. Okay.
You know, Omaha Cat Dancer's coming back again. A great alternative independent book that so few people talk about. A real soap opera book that involved a
gosh.
cat that was a stripper.
Oh gosh.
That was
one.
very well drawn and very well written. Reed Waller and I can't remember the artist on it, but Reed's bringing that property back. So
I saw a book that was stripper samurais fighting outer space zombies or something.
yeah, that's Atrocity Press. Max DeVille is doing Ninja
Yes, that's it.
Ninja Bimbos, I think he's calling it, versus zombies from deep space.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one.
There you go. There you go, Taylor.
Great title. And it's a great
There's something
book,
out
too.
there
The
for everybody.
That's another one of those hidden gems that if Max is lucky to get out in front of the podcast audience, and once you actually see the campaign, you go, "Holy crap! There's a lot of quality to this book. I need to buy in."
Yeah.
Because at first you hear the title and you go, goofy, some, gratuitous book, and then
It's-
you look
it's
at
a
the
lot of
art
fun.
and it's like, hey, this looks really good. Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting quite
Really
a few
well done.
RPGs and indie comics recently. That's true, Taylor. We are.
Mhm.
That is true. I was one of the first though.
It's a great blending of
Yeah.
imagination. They kind of tie in hand. That's why you see a lot of these artists that try to break into Marvel and DC end up going out and doing RPG work or illustration work or video game work, is because it goes hand in hand with it.
Yeah, the guy I work with, Nick Tockard, has created a base plus 2 system that he can plug a lot of different IPs into. So there's a superhero, there's a fantasy module, and things like that he's developing. And it's going to be under Lockdown Games. And so, it's pretty exciting what he's doing. But we're going to be releasing the full manual. So what we got right now is a quick play. We're going to have a full manual later this year. It was going to be last year, but somebody had to get sick, so we're working on that to try to get that out later this year. And it's exciting because I love seeing all of these indie guys and gals out there making role-playing games. It's great because, again, as much as there's a monopoly on the comic side from the big two, same thing's happening in gaming.
Strippers actually don't want to read about themselves. They need books with girls that resolve their daddy issues.
There you go.
Well, Pill Raider, maybe you should write one.
Taylor, when do
Well-
we have time to read comics? They're busy dancing.
Well, I am working on a story for Lawani and Rose called Daddy Issues.
There you go.
to be in the Inkslayer book.
I talked with a guy named Shane. Shane Allman does a little bit like I'll have concept ideas, and I'm kind of busy, so I'll have him do some writing because I like his writing style. And I talked to him. He's taken on one of the characters I've got called Triple Play, who is an archer, and he is a big Green Arrow fan, big Green Arrow fan. And we were talking yesterday. He's really disappointed in kind of the Green Arrow comics. He's like, it's not. I haven't really gotten the story I want. And I said, well, write it. I said, write it. Make this story about this character. Make it the Archer story that you want to read. And he's like, awesome. That's what I'm going to do. And so he's, working on this story that it's going to be the Archer story that he wants to read. And I think that's the thing with comics and indie comics is we make what we want to read. I want to read about, I'm really influenced by the Chris Claremont era X-Men, and I was really influenced by, kind of the ancient aliens and conspiracy theories and all of that fun stuff. And I was like, I want to read a book like that. Well, there wasn't a book like that, so I wrote one. And I think that's the beautiful thing about comics. If it's not there, you make it. And maybe other people will like it, maybe they'll hate it, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. You have fun with it, and hopefully you find an audience, because I do think there's an audience out there for everything.
Absolutely.
I mean, clearly we see that in mainstream media. There's an audience for everything, and I believe that even more so with indie comics.
Let's see. Soul's telling Pale Rider about daddy issues from Nat the Merc there with Mr. Sam. There you go. Mr. Fist says he's making a tabletop RPG too. There's already a special pack of limited edition arms and armor. The sugar cane will be the first weapon.
There you go.
I want details on this, Fist. What can my sugar cane do?
Man, if you 3D print little characters, little playing pieces, you gotta put Sugar Chris in the red dress.
Maybe that's something I'll do. I'll get a 3D printed one,
Yeah.
of me there in the red dress and put it up.
Oh yeah, we can make that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a 3D printer, but my left hand, my left ham. That's funny. It's like a big chunk of meat. It's mostly paralyzed from COVID.
Oh my gosh.
A weird thing, yeah. Most of my arm doesn't work, but it's coming back. But my hand is mostly paralyzed. I can't feel half of it. My index finger and my thumb work a little bit, but it's atrophied so bad it's not very strong. But so I've got to teach my daughter how to set up the 3D printer, because for my campaign that I'm going to be launching right at the end of the long shots for Hybrids issue 8 is I'm doing a little mini bust of Trashman, and but I also want to do little game pieces, for our RPG. So, but it's pretty easy if you get a 3D printer to do that stuff. You just have to find a good designer that can give you a good model, and so I think that's been the hardest part for me, is finding 3D modelers that actually want to work. But I've got one now that does a tremendous job. So, yeah.
Yeah, I got all these people with all these RPGs. I know I'm gonna try to do it to where I can play the RPGs on the stream
Yeah, that's
and
fun.
stuff. I think that'll be fun and gives a little bit of advertisement out for folks too.
We were actually on Red Valkyrie, and we did a live play of the quick play last year.
Nice.
It turned out great. It was fun. But I think I would like to see more streams like that where people, play their original game, and every time you play through, it's different, because every person makes different decisions, so it's a good time. It's a good time. I think, I remember, at 14 years old, 1994, going to the comic book shop on Wednesday, buying my comics, picking up, anything we needed for gaming, and going and crashing at one of our friends' houses and just playing RPGs, like D&D all night long, or Star Wars or Maycross or something like that. Just all night long we play, and nothing built that friendship and that community quite like the love of comics and the love of gaming. And so I think they just go hand in hand. And I love seeing that happen because it's this really is the medium for the outcast and for the letdown. So it's a lot of fun.
Creators Outlet says, Luke and Randy, good to see you guys.
Thank you very much.
See you too, man.
It's good to be seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see, checking the chat. Fist says, yeah, both my hands are partially paralyzed and cramp up when I try to use them because of an autoimmune disease. Losing one of your hands is the absolute worst. Could be worse, though. Not blind.
Yeah. Well, Chris, I'll be praying for you that, that you get some healing in those hands. But yeah, I'm trying to relearn how to do everything with one hand. Mm-hmm. So I had to buy my son had this idea because typing on my laptop would take forever. So he found this on Amazon, this 60% keyboard. And so it's smaller, has fewer keys, and there's a function that allows you to move. Like a key has two functions. So I can type and stuff on that now. So it's just relearning how to do some of those things, and then teaching people to do the things that you can't, like setting up the leveling the bed for the 3D printer. It's it's not a hard task to do, but there's a feel and a touch to it that I don't have anymore. I don't have that feel and touch anymore. So you teach it to somebody else, and and you got to kind of depend on a few people in your circle to kind of be there for you and help you out, which I think was the hardest part for me, guys, was not being completely independent. That's been the hardest thing to deal with.
Apparently, Paraletter has the same problem with his right hand, sort of. Just his pinky and ring finger is dead from nerve damage.
Ooh, yeah. See, yeah, it's my pinky, left hand pinky, ring finger, and middle finger. I don't have feeling, and in the back of my arm and my shoulder, like it's bad nerve damage from something. We're not sure how that happened. But yeah, so man, I feel for you. It's rough. It really is. Now I was a guitarist, and I used to be real humble about I'm a decent guitarist. Now that I can't do it anymore, I'll tell you, I could kill it, man. I was sick on that guitar. I can make that thing sing. Can't do that anymore. But yeah, yet. Everyone's like, yeah, it'll come back. But here's the thing: if it doesn't, I'm okay with that because I can still draw. That was the thing I was really concerned about. I've still got my drawing chops. So, and I know a lot of people were curious about that and afraid to ask. But Randy and I have not lost a step when it comes to drawing. That's for certain.
Well, the first thing I did when I could move my hands and forearms was ask for pencil and paper.
Yeah.
So, and the physical therapist was stunned. The first thing I drew was a cartoon dog, and she said, I can't believe you just drew that. And I said, I've been drawing all my life. I have to keep drawing. So
yeah,
that's literally what helped me get through a lot of the early rehab parts, was sitting there and drawing all day. So, because what else can you do in bed? You're just sitting there watching television and thinking negative thoughts. That's no way for rehabilitation.
No, it's not. My occupational therapist found out that I was an artist, and she was like, well, yeah, I'm going to get you drawing. She brought in nice paper, pencils, and she's like, all right, for an hour, I want you to draw. And she goes, then I want you to draw something later today and show it to me tomorrow. And first thing I drew, they sat me down right there in the gym and said, your job today is to draw me a picture. First thing I drew was Spider-Man, because I love Spider-Man. So I drew Spider-Man, and I was nervous to do it.
Yeah.
But it turned out pretty good. They go, man, that's amazing. And I go, no, it's not as good as what I normally draw. But from there, I started doing realistic stuff and doing comic book stuff and drawing new characters and just all that kind of stuff. And
you can't hardly see it. There's the second thing I drew was a happy frog.
That's fun.
That was on the 2nd or 3rd of December.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Was it 12? I dated everything 12/3. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
12-3.
that's
Yeah, I'm actually working on the black cover right now. Um, I've kind of gotten my speed back. I'm still a little slower than what I used to be because of just the ability to sit in the chair. One of my problems is I have chronic pain now from COVID. Um, it seems like all problems that you could potentially have come when you come down out of that tree. I hit every branch on the way down,
Yeah.
so I've got multiple issues I'm dealing with. Um, but so the chronic pain makes it difficult to stay in the chair for more than a few hours at a time. But I have moved from a 2-hour sit to about a 5-hour sit, so I can get quite a bit drawn in 5 hours now. So that's pretty good. So we're almost back to my old production where I was being able to knock out 7-8 pages a week. So I'm right now at like 4 pages a week. So I'll get back. I'll get back there.
Rather than saying a system like Palladium Rifts could potentially allow all the CG characters in it to play in regards to RPGs.
That would be fun. I would love to play. I would love to put the Embrace up against one of my characters. And see how they handle each other. It'd be fun.
It says, Tara says, that's how I found CG. Laid up in bed after surgery, came across Ethan's How to Draw a Comic for Under $100.
I think that's going to go down as a classic video.
I think so. Yeah.
I think everybody has seen that, how he walks into Michael's and walks out with everything that you need to do a comic with for like $99.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really a great video too, because it teaches somebody who wants to do it, has no clue how to start. That's the way to start.
Yep.
And that gives you everything that you need outside of your imagination
Yeah,
and the
that-
skills to do the book.
Yeah. That guy gets so much hate from people, but he really tries to contribute a lot to to people that want to use this art form to tell a story and to create. And
The one thing I found out about that is that the hate that he gets is pre-programmed. People tell other people that this guy is a this or a that, and then they automatically stick him into a pigeonhole without actually trying to go out and think for themselves and find the answers out there for themselves. But you get up on YouTube and you watch some of these videos and you realize that a lot of them people that say negative things about Ethan are just totally full of shit.
Yeah.
So
Well, somebody's got to be the boogeyman for everybody. There's always got to be a boogeyman, I guess.
got to be a villain.
And, yeah, somebody's got to. Everybody wants to make a villain. They can't be like, hey, look, just they do their thing and we do our thing, and that's how it is. But
Well, there's 3 sides to every story. That picked that up from Babylon 5.
yeah,
There's 3 sides to every story. There's his side, their side, and then
And the
there's the
truth.
truth.
then the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were talking about drawing Spider-Man, Luke. Here's one for you.
Oh, that's fun. Yee.
I'm not even
Yikes.
sure what that is. But I just seen it on Twitter a little while
It just
ago.
doesn't. That just doesn't look good.
Yeah, I was like, oh no, what is this?
It's about to take a spider dump.
Spooderman, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Spooderman.
Oh, no.
Not to totally spoil the movie, but that was one of the high points of the last Spider-Man film. You mean the webbing comes out of you? How does that work? Did you ever run out? They go, is that kind of like? And then they cut him off.
Uh-huh.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's funny.
Oh, okay, that's what I seen a clip on Facebook where somebody's making a joke about that or something, and like Green
yeah.
Goblin's getting ready to do
They're all-
something. He does
they're
like a
all-
hip thrust, and it shoots the web into
Yeah.
the.
Comparing notes, and they're like, McGuire, what the hell?
I'm going to tell you what. That was the No Way Home was one of the best superhero movies that they've made in a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just fun. It was entertaining. It had some action and some seriousness to it, but it also had just some silliness. That stuff that makes comic books great. And I think sometimes people take themselves way too serious. And they take comics way too serious. Like, come on, man, it's the funny books. Like sometimes you draw a panel that looks a little silly because you want people to catch that silliness. Sometimes you put something in there and you talk about stupid stuff because it's fun.
Literally part of being human.
Yeah.
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 Nothing's greater in that movie than when Doctor Strange is casting that spell and Spider-Man keeps coming up. Well, what this person? I want this person to
Yeah.
remember. I want that person to
And he's
remember.
like, "Stop
What about
changing my
this?
spell."
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah, that's
stop
funny.
changing my spell.
So, Supergirl had before I went to sleep, there was people were complaining because they did a panel where she had a zit and
No,
she
no, it
popped.
was a whole. It was a whole page.
It was a whole page. It was a splash. It
She
was a
sees a
splash.
zit and she
She
pops it and
pops it,
blows out the whole
and
bathroom.
everywhere in the whole bathroom. And people were just complaining about that and having. They're like, "Oh, no, no, no! This is." I'm like, "Dude, that's funny." I'm like, "This that's the kind of stuff that should be in comic books." I mean, come on, you've got to have a bit of silliness, and to make it a
And
splash page,
it
come
has
on.
its place. It has its
Yeah,
place in
it
certain
does.
books. I
Yeah,
don't happen to agree that it belongs in a Supergirl book,
I don't
but
know,
it has
but
yeah,
its place in certain books.
I think it would be more, better if it would have shut a little hole, like like a like a nail hole in the wall, like a bullet hole, instead of
that
just
could be
blowing
fun. Yeah,
something up, like
She,
just a little
yeah,
like thing, and you see like a crack of the window, like she's looking in the window, presses on it, and there's a hole in the
yeah,
mirror, and it's cracked.
yeah. I've got an old
Fuck.
that was the whole
Radio.
purpose of that article. I think it ran in
Hail
Penthouse.
Raiden.
Man of Steel, Woman of Kleenex.
And I don't,
Yeah,
and I think people would have liked that one better if they would have toned it down and made it more like,
yeah.
hey, look at
Yeah.
the mirror, and then
I thought, hey, I thought it was hilarious. I laughed my butt off seeing that.
Not
And I'm
only
not.
not only that, but once you call bodily functions into play, then all bodily functions will come into play, and then
yeah,
you end up with something like what turning red.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, I've read comic books, and that's the kind of crap we talk about. You know, like, oh, well, what would it be like if Superman, da da da, and like sometimes when that makes it into the pages, I think it's fun. I think it's funny. There's
Oh
this
yeah,
one panel.
in
There's this
certain
old,
aspects,
yeah.
absolutely.
There's this old panel where the guy's standing at the urinal and he's spraying every which way, getting everybody wet. The guy's next to him, and it's like it's just it's that some of that whimsy, and sometimes it's nice to bring some of that back in and realize that what we're working on, can turn into great movies and amazing franchises. But at the end of the day, it's still a comic book, and we need to be able to have fun with it and enjoy it and not take ourselves too seriously and be able to laugh a little bit. I try to
Well,
put humor in my books as much as I can.
I've always wanted to do an underground book called "The Sex Lives of the Superheroes."
That'd be hilarious.
I think
I would buy
it would
that.
be hilarious.
Yeah, I would
Like
buy that.
what was that? What was that one against it? Was it the professional or whatever, where she's like a
The Pro.
prostitute or
That's
pro?
what it
Yeah,
was
the
called. Yeah, the
prostitute
Pro.
with powers.
That was Palmiotti and Amanda Connor, if I'm not mistaken, did that.
That was fun. I thought that one was funny.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that was it really was a deconstruction of the superhero genre, but it had its place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
right.
it's still a classic book.
Hmm.
Yeah, I appreciate some deconstruction stories, but I feel like right now everything is a deconstruction, and
Yeah,
there's no
Unfortunately, yes.
reconstruction.
Yes.
Nobody's
right,
building anything back. They're just tearing everything down, and
right.
and that just frustrates me, And that's I think one of my biggest. Randy said something the other night on a stream, and I've brought it up now a couple times, a couple days in a row. He said it Tuesday night, and I totally agree. He said there's two people. Randy, what was that? Two people that ruined the comic industry.
Two people that destroyed this industry. That was Jim Lee and Frank Miller.
Because
Because now
everybody
everybody
has
has to draw like Jim Lee, and everybody has to be as dark as Frank Miller.
Yeah, yeah. And they were good, and they had their place, and they sold well because it was different at the time.
Well, yes,
and now
exactly.
everything is the same. Everything now
Exactly
is the
right.
same.
Yep.
Yeah,
yeah, but that's what we call the image move. When image left the big mainstream, the mainstream didn't want to have rock stars anymore.
yeah,
So they decided that they wanted to go back to the 20s or 30s or whatever you call
Well,
them,
no, no,
where
no.
everything was a house,
That was
a house look.
no, that was no, no. That was a conscious decision on the part of the big two, so that there won't be any superstars again, to go out and start another image.
But that's
That's
what I
what they were.
said.
That's what they were trying to keep from happening.
But that's what I just said. The
It,
rock stars.
yeah, but it did add to the stagnation. But at the same time, Image is responsible for killing the
They,
'80s black and white market
they wanted the
um,
IP to drive the sell, not the artist.
because they
yeah,
sold so much to the retailer, and that substandard superhero product.
yeah. The content was flawed or wanting in those books. The art was tremendous. I mean, it looked pretty. It was definitely 90s over the top kind of stuff. And it was great. But a lot of those, you know,
And
they
again,
bought first issues.
there's a place for it, but not a prominent, overbearing place, which is what happened. A lot of retailers ended up losing their stores because they invested a lot of money in a lot of issues of Image that didn't sell.
Yeah. And the speculation market, I think is I don't, and I know there's probably speculation people listening, but I met a guy that ran a speculation site, and I thought he was a terrible human being, and it only solidified my idea that that speculation market with comics is part of that kills comics, you know, because they're not reading them, they're buying them based on what they think they're going to be worth,
Yep.
you know, and so instead of buying the comic to enjoy it, they're buying it as an investment, and they want to turn around and flip that for more money. And I'm like, you know, stop it. You know,
I optimistically like to think that that's a third to half of the market. Optimistically.
yeah,
But it probably isn't. There's less and less readers out there all the time.
yeah,
And if Marvel and DC especially were to stop doing their variant covers, they'd be in a lot of trouble real fast as far as their profit margins
it's
go.
like you almost have to have 35 variant covers
Yes.
to make money. Yeah,
It's all a gimmick. And it's all a gimmick aimed at the speculator and the retailer. The comic Diamond and the big comic producers have realized that the reader isn't really their customer. The retailer is. So if they can trick some money out of that retailer, they're going to do it. They're going to figure out how to do it and get it done.
Well, let's see. Fist says everything is a deconstruction because we're witnessing the infection of our media by Marxists. This is designed to destroy our culture and demoralize us, priming the nation for communist conquest.
I agree. I won't argue that.
I would say there's some truth to that, but there's also a large resentment. I think that's been growing since probably 2010, 2011, maybe 2012, where a lot of the, and this is going to sound really sexist, but if you go in and look at it, you'll see I'm speaking the truth. A lot of women have gotten into this business in order to tear it apart because they see it as an industry made for toxic males. And they're out there to completely obliterate the market and obliterate the art form and comics in general. That's why you get a lot of substandard, nasty stuff and a lot of these so-called writers out there that are just doing incredibly substandard and horrible work.
And the really talented
Is that
female
their-
writers and artists aren't getting a job.
And they're not being seen because they're not coming out to the limelight because they do quality work, and that can't happen anymore. You have to have the male character be the inferior idiot or the villain, the
We used to call them
ratsy
the
or
feminazis.
whatever. Yes. But I think there's a lot of that going on in the market that sites like the Fourth Age are coming out and pointing out. And well, Zach did originally came out and started poking that bear pretty hard.
Yeah.
And you saw all of the resentment that he raised from just a little bit of name calling, and
Yeah.
from a video stream that was originally private. You saw all the hostility that came out off of that.
Yeah.
That's and it's just ridiculous.
I was actually encouraged last night. I watched. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
I was watching for dinner. We decided to sit down and watch Jungle Cruise with Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt, and I was actually encouraged to see that there were two strong characters. That one wasn't better than the other, but they worked well together. You know, a strong man and a strong female. That, you know, it wasn't one of those where they were trying to, you know, make the guy look like an idiot, you know, or anything
Right.
like that. It was an interesting movie. You know, they actually included a homosexual character, and they did it tastefully. And I'm like, you know, why can't more movies or more content kind of be like that, where you address those things and you're not trying to tear down one gender over another, you know, but you're You know, like my wife and I, we're a partnership. I'm not better than her. She's not better than me. We're better at different things. And so, I try to write the male and female counterparts in my book that same way.
Right.
And, and deal with real life stuff. Are there, people deserve to see kind of themselves in these comics and stuff. I don't disagree with that. But I don't think that you should take a well established character and make them fit a personal, check off marks. I think
Agenda.
that you should
Yeah.
create these new characters organically, and it
Yes.
doesn't have to be, in that conversation, in that movie, it wasn't about, it's like, why are you on this adventure? And he was like, well, I, had another suitable wife to, someone to marry, but my interests lie elsewhere. And he goes, oh, elsewhere, okay. And so you understood that he's on this adventure because his life that is planned for him in this period is not right. It's not what he's into. And, they didn't have to go into like details about you. They didn't have to have him making out with some dude or whatever. That simple conversation. You're like, oh, okay, well that makes sense. And it makes sense to the story on why he's on this adventure with his sister and not back in London, living it up, living the high life. It makes total sense. And it lends to the story. And that's the problem with a lot of these books and movies now in the what we call the mainstream, is they have a tendency to force those kind of things to put it in there, but it doesn't serve the story. And what is comics but storytelling? Everything we do is supposed to serve the story, and you can tell when something doesn't. And I think that's part of the reason why, at least modern comics right now struggle as much as they do, because people don't want to be preached at. They don't want to be told, hey, the way you think is stupid and you're an idiot, and everything you love is wrong, everything you grew up with was wrong. They don't want to be told that. No one does, whether it's right or wrong. But tell the story, focus on the story. That's my thought.
Focus on entertainment
Yeah.
instead of soapboxing. Yeah.
Yeah. After I just soapboxed. Yeah.
Says he's way
Time
better
and place for everything.
standing up than his favorite stripper. Well, Pale Rider, they have like a little funnel thing for him to do the peeing standing up now. So modern problems require modern solutions, I guess.
There you go.
Let's see. Fisk is let's see. He's saying women, actually just feminist women. Feminism is an offshoot of Marxism. It was created to destroy the family, divide the sexes into competing entities. I'm so tired of Marxist propaganda and the useful idiots it has created. This is why I've only bothered with indie creators these days.
Yeah.
Don't make the guy look like an idiot. Marxism has a hierarchy. The Rock isn't white, so a white woman making him look bad can be construed as more racism.
Well, maybe you're right, but it's
if
gonna be
you-
hard to
if
make The
you-
Rock look bad.
Yeah, if you get into the underbelly of feminism, it goes back to Wonder Woman. And if you go and look at the underbelly of Wonder Woman, you should look at Marston because he is a very interesting individual, and that's putting it nicely.
And
Here's
that
the
was
thing.
that was technically all behind his entire plan behind Wonder Woman was that movement where women would take over the world. That was his vision.
And I'm running on a theory because I've been working on a book about the history of comics. Uh, Marston looked at the art form of sequential art of comics and decided it could be used for propaganda
Yep.
right before World War II came out. World War II comes out, and you have all of these propagandic comics where the Japanese and the Germans are super evil, and they all get destroyed. And Human Torch swears, who originally swore never to burn anybody, starts burning all of the Axis characters, blindly, and that kind of thing. Marston, there's a whole chain. Comics are a large chain of links linked together with one another. But if you go back to Marston and his thinking, and you really look at it, there's been a couple of books out and a movie, not a documentary, but about the secret origin of Wonder Woman. It's really, really fascinating once you get into the underbelly of that character and Marston in general. But I think he tipped the first domino over that also attracted Wortham and started him going out and trying to glory hound and writing Seduction of the Innocent and turning comics into kiddie literature and encouraging all of these book burnings that in turn started the Comic Code Authority, that in turn started the underground movement as a direct backlash to that Comic Code Authority, which in turn started the alternative market, which
Yeah.
in turn, started the direct market because the head shops couldn't sell drug paraphernalia anymore. They were making money selling underground comics. Then they were making money selling all kinds of comics. Then there were direct distributors. All those direct distributors perforated out and then narrowed down to one thanks to Stupid Diamond and their chicken little tactics
Yeah.
for the sky is falling and everybody needs to get behind me BS
Yeah.
back in the 80s. It's all an amazing little chain that links back to one another.
It's all
But
about that censorship.
everybody wants to you get a lot of these people that get on this bandwagon that comics have always been propaganda, and that's absolutely wrong. Comics turned propagandic slowly because certain key individuals who by modern standards would be labeled as deviants decided that they could use that art form for propaganda, and that doesn't count Simon and Kirby out there who were doing a direct backlash against somebody that was trying to subjugate and eventually kill all of their people when they did Captain America #1 hitting Hitler.
Yeah.
That wasn't propagandic so much as an editorial statement.
Yeah,
And,
because
and,
the
and let's
month
just be fair. And let's just be fair. Anything can be turned into propaganda as soon as it's popular.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, the Captain America punching out Hitler was a direct response to Hitler being named Times Man of the Year and being put on the cover. You know, crazy.
I would have to look at the timeline for that to
Yeah.
see if there's a direct correlation behind that.
I believe there is. I mean, I might be wrong, but I
But
I
I
believe there
I
was.
know at
Yeah.
the time it was a very controversial statement because there was a lot of pro-Hitler sentiment here in
Yeah.
the States at that
Yeah.
point when
Mhm.
it came out.
And the truth is, I don't have any problem with feminism, but
Are
true
you okay,
feminism.
Chris, are you awake?
I think he's asleep,
I think he's falling
or he's
asleep.
frozen, or he's frozen.
Are you
Yeah,
frozen,
that's what
Chris?
I'm wondering. That's what I'm wondering. Yeah.
Because I mean,
He
there's
looks
no
like he's sleeping.
there's no way you could sleep that still.
And there
Yep,
we
now
go.
he's gone.
Yeah.
And the head is gone. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have any problem with feminism, like true feminism. It's it's
mean-
this
that's the-
enraged
You mean the
Marxist.
first wave and second wave feminism,
Yeah.
which was about
Yeah.
the freedom and equality between men and
Yes.
women, which they
I have
were
no problem with
promoting. I remember second wave feminists still promoting that we were supposed to be like like the entire McGuire thing. We complete each other, like
Yeah.
we're equal. We're not the same, but we equal. We have equal rights,
Yeah.
right? So that
Yeah.
was the entire
Same but
premise. Just
different.
one needs the other one, and
Yeah.
we complete each other type of thing. Then it turned into a third wave feminism, where even my mom and my grandma back in the days went, "What the hell's going on?"
Yeah. See, now, here's
It
the
turned
thing.
into a hate
Here's the thing.
movement.
That first and second wave feminism, those are biblical principles.
We don't
that
need men.
that,
Well,
that
why
I
do men need
teach.
you?
That I the first and second wave, those are biblical principles that I teach, that I live in my family. That's what I teach my daughter. This
Yeah, I
third
got
wave
2 girls
feminism,
here, yeah.
it's ridiculous. This whole what's going on.
The
And it-
entitlement starts from there. Like the entire entitlement of just because of being, you should be it makes no sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
it's no longer being equal. It's now I have to
Nobody-
destroy everyone that's not like me. And
No,
you're
but-
seeing this in every community. It's not just feminism, but it's also
Yeah.
with
Very true.
and I've got friends that are LGBTQ plus. I've got friends that look at this movement and like, whoa, this is getting out of control. They're trying to destroy everything that's not them. They don't just want equality. They want to take out everything that's hurt them in the past. And I'm like, I can understand that sentiment because you get resentful, but that's not how our community is going to be able to move forward. But you start seeing that in every one of these waves where they no longer do they want equality and the same. They want equity. They want more than that. They want, it's sad, but that's what we're looking at. And I have to agree. There's a lot of Marxist views in that. A lot of what
Yeah.
they teach goes
Yeah.
right back to Marxism,
Yeah.
and it's it's going to lead to communism.
There's
And
there's an old French saying that my grandma used to say often. It's no one farts and smells like roses.
true,
Yeah.
It's
Pale, pale,
everybody's human, you know. It's like, yeah.
pale writer in the chat says, I think Suga has too many Pornhub tabs open. Computer couldn't take it.
Well, he was looking up for. He was trying to do some market research on strippers
He
There
was
we go.
trying.
for
He was
his
trying.
next
He
book.
was
That's right.
shopping too hard, and the
Yeah.
shopping cart got him froze. I don't know. He's not even back yet.
No, he's not.
Like usually he's back. He's back quickly. But
I
There
might
was
have had
a-
to reboot completely.
Yeah.
Reboot your system, Sugar.
But we're here, man.
We're here.
We're here and talking. We'll wait for him, right?
Mm-hmm. We're not going anywhere.
I got no place else to be.
Red, it's entirely different. Possible. He was probably looking up for more questionable female performers. He was talking with Babi, whatever her name was.
Pale Rider says, no, my computer is desensitized. It handles porn fine, lol. Red Gay says, it's a penis.
Mm-hmm.
Soul. Anyway,
Chris is saying women in general haven't been hurt. They're protected class that not only lives longer, they inherit value from birth, whereas men have to provide service, product, and order. Yeah, that's one of the things that's like I said, the entire type of entitlement.
yeah.
That's just for showing
Yeah.
up that you're respected, that you're worshipped. Like, I'm sorry, you might have a vagina doesn't make you a mother. Not because you're a female makes you a mother. Not because I'm a guy makes me a dad. It's what
Yeah.
I do with my kids that makes me a dad. The lessons I learn, you
Yeah.
know. One of the best thing I say is like kids. One of the best thing about having kids in life, it's so reflective.
Hmm.
It makes you realize so many things about your own self,
Mhm.
and it opens your eyes into being what selfishness is all about, and being able to put somebody else's before you.
Yeah.
It's yeah. It's not like having a pet.
Yeah, I know it's not. Yeah, it changes your perspective. I think there's a few things in life that can change your perspective. When you first have a kid, obviously that changes your perspective.
I
think
I call it the rite of passage. Like, we
Yeah.
have many of those in life. No, one
Yeah.
of them is when you leave protected place of life where you're like teen, you're with
Yeah.
mom, dad, you're in high school, and then you have to go outside work, and then you realize what we call the hit the wall of life, where you
Yeah.
realize that you had it good. Now it's
Yeah.
a bit of a bummer,
Yeah.
but there's a good side to it.
Yeah.
That's where my kid is. He's 20 and he hit
Well,
that wall.
Yeah, and there's there's
My
another
dad won.
there's another life event that changes your perspective, and not everyone will have it, but it's that near death experience. When you know
Had that too.
that you should be dead but you're alive,
Mhm.
you start to reevaluate everything, and try to decide what's important, what's not important. Like engaging with these
Yeah, do you-
SJWs on social media. That's not important to me anymore.
Yeah,
I'm like, I just want to make books. I want to be
you
happy
change
making books.
quickly. You change
Yeah.
quickly from the glass half full, half empty to the glass half full part.
Yeah.
You start
Yeah.
appreciating life a little bit more, and you start seeing, enjoying what you have left instead of focusing on what
Yeah.
how much time you have left.
Yeah. You
If that
realize.
makes sense.
Yeah. You realize that
Mm-hmm.
life is very short, and that your days are limited. So it makes you want to be more productive.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Not just that, but you never know.
Yeah.
Because I, like I said, I went in for antibiotics. And I ended up, 40 days later,
Yeah.
waking up and being completely paralyzed and having to crawl back from that.
Yeah. Well, the
You,
doctors.
you never know.
Yeah. The doctors told me I was in the hospital for 12 days before they intubated me. But on August 30th, they told me my oxygen levels, my O2 levels, were plummeting. They were going down to the 70s, and they were very, very concerned.
Chris,
And,
I think when we mean equal, we mean equals to the eyes of the law,
Yeah.
of freedom, and all your rights and everything. We know, like, dude, an athlete it's different body types, different things. Some people are better at sports. Some people are better at thinking.
Yeah.
Yes, nobody's actually like all the
Let,
same,
let me put it
but
this way.
we should all have the same rights and the same ability
Yeah.
and the same access to everything, so we can
Yeah.
get to do what we
Let,
want.
let me put it this way. This is how I present it to my congregation. I've heard another pastor say this, so it's borrowed from them. I can't remember who said it. But, when God created woman from man, he took the rib from his side. He didn't take a bone from the foot that man should tread over woman, and he didn't take a bone from his head that she should rule over him, but he took the bone from his side so that they could be partners, and from under his arm so that he could have his arm of protection around her. We are equal in that sense. My wife and I are partners, and
But
we
as much as you
contribute
protect
equally,
her, she
but
protects
differently.
you.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I would not have made it. I shared a picture on Twitter where I'm in the bed. I'm now trached. I'm still on the vent, but I'm trached and awake, and she's just sitting there, looking at me, and she doesn't look at me like I'm some sick guy that almost died or is about to die. She looked at me like I'm her husband, and uh, I could not have endured the things that I have without her. And she has a strength that I don't possess, and I have a strength that she doesn't possess. But those strengths, they complement one another, and that's what we mean by equal.
Yeah,
We're equal in that sense.
Chris says he's rebooting. He'll be back up shortly.
Mm-hmm.
His computer froze.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's what
It's jargon for him fell asleep, knock his head on the keyboard, and he'll be back.
Yeah, it's fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Rebooted the computer.
Yeah. As I was saying earlier, I went in for 12 days, and the doctor told me, I said, what's the possibility of me getting better? He goes, oh, you're not, at this point, you're not going to get better.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, you might have a couple days left. He goes, but you're not going to leave this hospital alive. And I said, well, what if I go in the vent? What if you intubate me and I go to ICU? He goes, probably have about a 5% chance. I said, can you make sure that I live? He goes, I can't make that promise.
No,
He goes,
no
but I will
doctor
tell.
can. No.
He says, I'll tell you what, you have a better chance of survival if you do this than if you don't. And so I talked to my wife. I didn't tell her what he had said about the percentage wise, but I said I think that it might be important for me to do this. And so we agreed, and I got intubated on August 30th and missed the entire month of September. It was almost like that Green Day song, Wake Me Up When September Ends, because I asked, one of the first things I asked, like, what day is it? My wife sheepishly, she goes, it's Thursday. And I go, I'm like, and I can't talk, so I'm like, I shake my hand as little bit as I can, and she goes, you mean what's the date? And I nod my head, and she goes, it's October. I think she said the 9th, I think is what she said, October 9th. And I was shocked. I'm like, October 9th? Like, how long was I out? And she's like, you were out for a long time. Yeah. So,
Chris,
yeah,
Chris
so it was
is
crazy.
bringing up that God created Lilith. That's equality. I'm like, dude, he created monsters from from all sides. Like, there's demons, there's monsters and men, there's monsters and women. I think that was the main illustration of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chris says, what a nightmare. China owes you a huge check for these hardships and their little blow weapon inflicted upon you.
Yeah. I think it's
Oh,
funny.
bioweapon. Sorry, it's a
Yeah.
bioweapon.
I
Yeah,
think,
for me, I never had the opportunity to have the choice to be incubated.
they just did it to
I
you.
just remember going out and waking up, and that later on I found papers that they had a third party that was um, working in my interests in the hospital that I didn't. I've never met. I have no idea who they are.
See, I don't know about,
But
yeah, that would bother me. My wife was the third party. She had to make
it
every
does.
decision.
Well, the only thing my wife was contacted for was the DNR, and then
Yeah.
she was she told them over the phone they wouldn't give her any other information after that for days until she got the call from the hospital. She thought it was the call to come and get my remains,
Oh
and
wow.
instead it was a call to your husband's awake and responsive.
And you guys are legally married, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
That's the difference.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm
Between
asking
Michigan and
because some
Florida.
people say my wife without being legally married, and that's fucking stupid. If you're legally married, she's legally in the right to know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, but here in Florida,
Well,
obviously different than Michigan.
on the plus side, must have given them a hell of a fight because they drugged me up really hard.
Yeah.
And the drugs that they gave me freaked the social worker out when I was moved to the nursing home. At least one of them did, because she was reading the list and her face went pale, and she looked at me and says, I don't know why you're even on this drug. Starts with a Q, but he says that's a hardcore narcotic psychotic. He says we're going to have to get you off of that as soon as possible. Took him 2 weeks to wean me off of it.
Yeah, it was pretty funny when I met with my pain management after I got out. She looked through the list of stuff, and she goes, "They're giving you what for nerve pain?" I said, "I'm taking I think it was 300 milligrams of what was the name of that? Gabapentin, a gabapentin for my nerve pain."
Oh.
And I said, "It's not working." She goes, "Of course not. Not after you've been off on all this stuff." She literally said, "That's like pissing in the wind." And I immediately fell in love with my
Yeah.
with my pain management doctor, because I'm like, "Thank you for being honest." And so, yeah, so she's
Well,
got me hooked up now.
it took me talking to the insurance representative to find out they had given me Hadinol twice. And from
gosh.
the way it was described to me, Hadinol is given to you as a last ditch effort to keep you alive.
Wow. Yeah.
So and then the doctor who came and visited me said that he thought I was gone twice. So, but I wouldn't die.
Yeah, I actually was getting worse, and they wouldn't let my wife visit for a while. She only could communicate through a FaceTime, and so she would just have a phone, and I wasn't. They
That-
kept telling her that I
That
could
was
hear this
because
stuff.
that was because of COVID restrictions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but they said that that he can hear, and I couldn't hear. I don't remember any of that stuff. I was out of it. They had drugged me up pretty hard too.
Yeah.
And one day she's doing the FaceTime with me, and the nurse pops her head around, and I had been steadily declining, and she goes, "My boss said that you can come in and visit him today if you want to." And within 20 minutes, she was in the hospital and visiting me. So they actually thought that they wanted her to be able to come see me because they thought I was expiring.
Gonna go. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not going to make it.
Yep.
And then as soon as she came in, something about her presence, my body started to fight back, and I slowly started to get better. I always had a good day when she came in, and I always had a bad day when she wasn't there. It was funny how that worked out, but
I don't think that's funny at all. I think that's exactly how it works.
yeah,
That's your support system and
Sure, yeah.
your mentality kicking in.
Yeah.
Because the first time the wife saw me, I didn't see her,
yeah,
and even though my eyes were wide open, I was in almost a fetal. I was flat on my back, but I was
Yeah.
dead.
Yeah.
And it freaked her out so bad she had to leave the room. And she ended up getting a picture of it. I've got a dead man stare. I'm not consciously there.
yeah.
You can see it in my face.
Oh, you
Yeah,
guys
I've
are
been-
lucky to have your wives.
But my
Oh, yeah.
first memory is the nurse touching my shoulder. I don't know how I felt it, but she was shaking me, and she says, "Hey, there's somebody here to see you." And I'm like, "What? And then I
Where am I?
remember her leaning in and looking at me.
Yeah, it's like, where am I? Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember waking up. First thing I remember is I had a dream that led to me waking up. I call it a dream. Some people can call it a dream or a drug-induced vision. I believe I visited the afterlife. I mean, it's so vivid. It's more like a memory than a dream. It's like I can smell the smells were there and everything I heard. It's like a memory, like I was there.
Yeah.
And but I remember hearing this nurse or somebody singing this song, "I Still Believe" by Jeremy Camp. My wife had told them that I like Christian music, and so they turned on the radio to play Christian music. And as I opened my eyes, I'm hearing this voice singing it, and I can't find it. And then a bright shot of light, and then I open my eyes, and here's this nurse with her back to me doing some stuff over there, singing this song that's playing on the radio real soft. And she turns around, she goes, "Well, welcome back, Mr. Stone." And I was like, that's the first thing I remember. And so I laid there for a while, realizing that I can't move, and I still have this stuff in my mouth, you know. And I'm like, this sucks, you know. And then a few minutes later, Beth walks through the door, and I immediately light up, and the doctor's like, "Wow, he's really responding to you," you know. I mean, it's you know, she's the love of my life, and my best friend, and I couldn't make it without her, and you know, so that value, you know, I help her when she's weak, and she helps me when I'm weak, and I don't think I'll ever be able to pay her back for what I'm going through right now. There's no way I'll be able to, you know, pay that debt, but yeah. So I'm, you know, and I'm raising a very strong, beautiful daughter. You saw her at the beginning, bring me coffee, gorgeous kid, and you know, I want her to be strong. So I'm, you know, I believe in that, you know, kind of those early tenets of feminism. But what is happening now is toxic, and it's ugly, and it's worked its way into comics, and it's unfortunate that it's something that we even have to deal with. And when you address it, because we have penises, we're immediately called sexist, and they want to cancel us.
Yeah,
and
for addressing it.
I also bring that one of the things that they also did was to try to destroy individuality, where they're
Yeah.
trying to make everybody technically like what it's affection dependent.
Yeah.
So technically, you know, learn to love yourself, be able to be by yourself before you can find somebody you can be with.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
because otherwise you're not ready to be with anybody if all you're looking is for, you know, not to be single for more than 2 months. Remember, like that wasn't
by the way,
a
for the
thing
listeners,
before, and that was a thing for like the end of
Yeah.
the 90s and the 2000 or something, where it's like if you're single for more than a month, you're a loser. You're like,
yeah.
oh, what about doing your own thing and then looking for Mrs. Right? You know,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things
not
there.
trying
that,
on shoes.
I think one of the things that I am most discouraged by is the heroes that I grew up reading were flawed, yes,
Right, there
but
he
they
is,
were,
ladies and gentlemen.
hey, he's back. But they were better than me. You know, in some
Yeah.
way they were better than me. And it gave me something to want to strive to be. And now they're trying to tear down all these
Exactly right.
heroes
Yep.
to where they're nothing. You know, to where I'm better than they are. You know, and it just, yeah, there was a place for that. But don't we need heroes that we can look up to? I think we do.
That's the whole ideal behind the hero.
Yeah.
All right, what did I miss?
We were
That's a
just
lot.
talking about feminism and our near-death experiences.
Oh, okay.
Nothing serious.
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
just saying, it's
Yeah.
telling the old war stories.
Nothing that'll get you canceled. We hope.
Yeah, too much.
Oh my gosh, my whole computer froze up.
Yeah, of course, you know, I'm-
loud noise.
I'm Gen X, so if someone tries to cancel me, it wouldn't bother me. I'll just laugh, you know, Gen Xers laugh that crap off. I'm like, whatever.
Chris Fisk said you had too many of your YouPorn tabs open.
Nonsense.
That's what did it.
Never.
There can never be enough YouPorn tabs. That's what it is. Yes.
I just need to upgrade the computer. Oh, let's see. I was trying to check. These parent said the new Viking show kind of started falling apart halfway through. It was still watchable, but meh.
Man,
The only thing I know about the
Meh.
new Viking show is that there's a black woman in it. Because I see that popped up all over Twitter.
because, you know, diversity.
Yeah.
Never mind. Never mind. That region is the thing. It's white.
We're
it's very
pale
white
for
there.
a reason. That means
Yeah.
we didn't get a whole lot of melatonin when our ancestors
Yeah.
were growing up. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. Yeah. It's funny when they, you know, it's like clearly it's like, let's put a black person in Ireland. What? Have you seen it? You know, like there's even certain spots in America that it's like, you know, Utah. I think they might have a black person over there,
That's
but
Utah. I can assure you, there's at least one.
is there?
Totally not
Okay.
trying to replace anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know that I've never met
Don't
any
bring
person
facts
of color
into
from
this, you bigot.
Utah. Facts. Yeah. Facts. Facts. Facts
Just-
destroy the narrative. Yeah.
Let's see.
Facts destroy the narrative.
Just trying to scroll down through and see what I caught up or get caught up here.
Yeah, be less white, less.
all deep.
I saw that on the Coke can. I was like, what the fuck? Seriously,
Yeah.
how could that not be racism?
What is that?
Well, in it,
Be less
just that
white on the can of Coke.
Just
Yeah,
that
that's-
statement is racist.
So maybe Crystal Pepsi should come out, be less black.
Well, I heard that the can that
No,
Coke can was saying that was fake, but that
It probably was.
the one of the CEOs. I don't know if it was during like when the Black Lives Matter all started. She said that, like she said that we need.
Well,
to
there
be
was,
less white.
from what I understand, there was supposed to be a conference that everybody was supposed to attend to teach them to be less white, and that threw a lot of people for.
Yeah, I mean, how is that
got
not?
into the press?
How is that not racist?
Yeah,
It's very racist.
I know,
You
right?
know, I would never tell someone to be less whatever they
You're
are.
too white. Just the fact that they tell people you're too white is like, what?
Yeah.
Well, how? Just spin that around. Like, let's just reverse. Rewind and reverse.
You know,
I tie
They're-
that back into the word
telling a black
entitled.
person you're too black.
Yeah.
You're being punched in the face.
I actually have a problem with some of the people in my Christian community. They were speaking out against this Turning Red movie, and we watched it. It was cute. It had some funny moments in there, but it's very much the Asian culture, and they were like, well, it's not Christian enough, and I'm like, hold on a second, stop being an idiot. Like, Asian culture, they're not Christian. They have other things. They don't worship God. They worship ancestors and stuff like that. Just enjoy it. Look at their culture, and then tell your kids, look, that's what some people believe, but this is what we believe. This is what I'm teaching you. This is what I believe is true. And instead of going after that, it's like, I would never tell someone to be less Asian or to be less black.
Don't
or
ignore the
Yeah.
existence of any other beliefs or anything that
Yeah.
you believe in. Do not
Learn
prevent
about it.
anybody to be exposed to it.
And
Neither.
Yeah.
I
Learn
would hate
about
to-
it.
I would hate to live in a culture, or restrain your entertainment because it's not Christian enough.
Yeah.
But
Because the
racism-
majority of the culture, or the majority of the entertainment venues you have out there, aren't necessarily Christian.
And
They're
let's just
not,
start by
you know?
the basic that usually hatred, right? Racism, misogynism, or all those ism usually starts by ignorance. And you do not resolve ignorance by not talking and preventing people from discussing and asking questions. And the perfect example, it's having a baby meeting his first black person or Asian person, and having the baby going, oh, and licking his finger and touching or touching the hair, like, and the person reacts because it's the first time he's seeing somebody different, and it's nothing. There's nothing racist. There's nothing bad about it. People forget that easy thing of ignorance. So if you cannot
Excellent.
discuss and question, and people express their opinion, and you counter it, people don't learn. So
And
the best idea is to it's ignorance, and
Yeah.
Best
conversation.
idea is to interact and to take on as many opinions as possible
Yes.
and let it shape your
Yep.
opinion. It's
Yeah.
too easy nowadays, especially in the age of polarized politics, to stick a set of blinders on and only look in one direction.
I work with Muslims. I work with people that are polydeists. I work with people that are atheists, and that doesn't affect my faith. Like,
Yeah.
I still have strong faith because I've determined what I believe, but understanding where other people are helps me build relationship with them.
Yep.
And it's part of my faith to share my faith. And the only way I can do that is if I understand you. If I understand where you are and where you come from, then I can better share my faith, tailor-made to you. Not necessarily trying to change your mind, but at least help you understand what I believe. And maybe you'll start to believe what I do, and maybe you won't. But either way, that's, you know, we can't do that without a conversation, understanding one another. And I'm still friends with people that that reject the gospel, and I'm fine with that to an extent. You know, I don't want them to reject the gospel because I believe that, you know, that they won't make it to paradise without the gospel. But at the same time, it doesn't stop me from loving them here.
I think one of the biggest problems right now is that people are forgetting that people are people, and it's about tribalism. Like right now, everybody's coming in going, "Hey, I'm gay. Hey, I'm lesbian. Hey, I'm Christian. Hey, I'm atheist. Hey, I'm this. I'm that." We don't need, like, since when did you have to pull out all your pedigree before just that people remember that you're a person?
It's
Like
a sad
seriously,
state
you're
of
a
affairs.
person.
Yeah.
Like your religion, your beliefs can change in 5 years.
I think it's
Who
really sad.
are you? You know,
Yeah.
like stop being tribal. Stop falling into the tribalism of everything. It's not Team Red. It's not fucking Team Blue. It's not left versus right. There's a middle. There's a gray area, and it's
I'm really, it's really sad that we live in a culture right now that wants to identify everybody by who or what is between their legs.
like look at what's going on. Like people cannot be themselves. Like they go, I need to figure out who I am. I can't just be white. I need to be this. I need to be 5% this, 10% this. Like, who are you? Like it. Look, I could be linked to King Arthur. I am not King Arthur. I am nothing like King Arthur. I could have his blood in my goddamn veins. I am nothing. I did not do nothing that he did. So that your ancestry is whatever it is.
We're
You are nothing
individuals.
but
It's
what you do yourself.
It's
And, you
a
know-
sad, it's a sad statement about our culture today,
Yeah.
that the majority of the people feel it necessary to stand up and tell you what pigeonhole they belong in.
Yeah. So, comics.
Team Red, you bigot.
You sugar, you putting your fingers into mouth after what you just did. Wash your hands. What? What did I do? All I did
He
was
has
use
the cams, dude. He knows. He
Yeah.
knows.
I will tell you this. I was not a cool kid in school, but comics was a connector with me and a bunch of other kids. And we had a table that grew with more and more friends from different backgrounds, different genders, different orientations, because we loved comics and we would talk about comics, and we loved games and we would talk about games. And it ticks me off that right now people want to use identity politics in comics. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Because comics was about the love of those characters. It was about the love of that story, that somehow we could connect with some aspect of it, no matter what our gender
And you know
or
what
race.
used to happen to those political books in the 90s and the 2000 in the early 2000s? They were dollar bins for 10
Yeah,
cents.
we laughed at them. No one, was like,
Nobody
this is
bought
garbage.
them. Like
Yeah.
you would see like a superstar, an actor on the cover, or the president, or people would just not buy them anymore. That's it. People
Remember
they end
that
up in the- yeah.
Remember that Spider-Man anti-smoking comic?
Yep.
That was ridiculous. It was so hokey,
Dude,
and it was forced and
remember
unnatural.
The day I stopped buying the Valiant comics, and I'm not talking about the first run. I'm talking about the second one, when that started in 2012, which
Okay,
was
yeah.
freaking good
Yeah.
until 2016.
Yeah.
2016, they kicked out the main editor. Sony took over, right? So they fired the main editor. I forgot his name was, but he has
Yeah.
one of those names.
Jim Shooter,
No. You know, he has. I think he's Indian
I
or
know, I'm
something. I don't know, but
just
he
being
has.
an
Like,
idiot.
I just want to ruin it. It's Shashinari or something like that. I just
Yeah.
don't remember. But the thing is, they kicked him out, and that's when they did Hillary Clinton was the good guy, and then Trump was working for the bad guy organization there. And I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
what the fuck you guys doing?
Yeah. Well, here's the deal. I feel like the whole country has been on a downward spiral ever since we killed Harambe. We shot that
probably-
gorilla,
probably
Harambe,
right.
and everything just went to crap.
Karma's coming back on.
Yeah. Kill that poor gorilla. He didn't do anything.
Somebody killed that gorilla. It blew up the collider, and the black hole started. And
Everything, yeah.
here we are.
Yeah, it started with Harambe, and then here we are. Here we are. And there's no way out now. There's no way out of this hole.
Shot the
We've
monkey.
fallen.
Start
We
the
have-
black hole.
We have
Speak,
fallen into the Sarlacc pit, and there's no way out.
speak for yourself. I know there's a world out there where I'm married to Haley Atwell, and I will find it.
Lost to the past, Samurai Jack. All right.
So we got
That's just how I feel.
Red's in
Yeah.
the chat trying to get Mr. Fist naked for some reason. All right.
All right, well,
Whatever floats your boat.
yeah, I do apologize that my ring keeps going off and making the viewers check their doors. My bad.
Oh,
Sorry.
it's just Pale Rider. Don't worry about him. He's
Yeah.
let's see. Gosh, I got to scroll through a lot of chat here.
They
It's
had
great
a
that
little
everybody's sticking with
philosophical
us so long.
discussion about Marxism and feminism while you were gone. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to scroll through all that there. I seen a bunch of feminism talk and all, and we got. By the way, Dunkel Zipper says, "Hi, oh, Dunkel Zipper."
What's
Hello,
up?
Zipper.
Uncle
Well,
Ziffer. That's a fun name to say. That's
Yeah.
fun to say.
I know,
Uncle
right?
Ziffer.
Fun name.
Yeah.
I got my backup. Oh my gosh, my backup I just got recently at work. His name is Orville. I was like, it's a great name. I love it.
Orville. Yeah.
Okay. Orville.
Orville Redenbacher
Yeah.
with that popcorn, man.
Timely name. Yeah.
That was
Orville
big
Wright.
for me. My wife's grandfather's name was Orville.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, you don't hear that name anymore.
And his wife's name was Bertil. That's another
Bertil.
old timey name that you don't
Yeah.
hear a lot.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Now my mom's name was Bertha. She did not like that name. So when she was a kid,
Oh, poor
when her mom's friend gave her there's that old Tutti Frutti thing, and so she started calling my mom Tootie, and so my mom went by Tootie her whole life, and somehow I just don't know that that's better than Bertha.
Oh yeah, my dad would say sometimes in relation to my mom or something, just to pick at her, say something about Big Bertha or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I would call my mom
one of the
Bertha.
Butt sisters.
I would call my mom Bertha just to get on her nerves. Man, she would really get upset with me, and it was, man, I got tons of stories about growing up with that. I remember the first time I talked back to my mother. I was
Rob
12
made
years
time
old.
for our sins.
No, wrong, mate. That's sacrilege, but it's funny. But I remember I was 12 years old. My mom was making me do the dishes, and I was like, I started thinking about I don't want to do the dishes, and I was about a foot taller than her at this point, and I was like, she can't physically make me do the dishes, and so I get in my, pea-sized male brain at the time, full of hormones, thinking I'm going to tell her. I said, I don't want to do the dishes. She goes, you're going to do those dishes. I said, woman, I'm not going to do those dishes. And she said, what did you say? And the whole mood changed, right? But I was thinking, man, I got to double down here. This isn't my time to be a man. And I said, woman, I'm not going to do those dishes. You're going to do those dishes. And she's like, that's what I thought you said. And her face contorted to some kind of evil. And she picks up a coffee cup.
Uh-oh.
And it's in her hand. She's got this in her hand. And, I mean, I start backing up because I'm like, whoa, this is scary.
Like,
But then I go, what are you going to do with that cup? You going to hit me with it? She goes, yeah, I am. She chucks that coffee cup right at my head. I dodge out of the way, and it hits on the wall right behind me and shatters. And then I look at that, and I turn back, and I was like, are you crazy? I didn't even get crazy out before fly swatter caught me across the face. She had a fight, and she beat me. I ran to my room and locked the door. She beat me all the way there. My dad comes home. Man, I knew I was in trouble. My dad comes home, and he comes to the door. He tries to get in, and it's locked. And he goes, let me in, son. And so I open the door, and he comes, sits down next to me on the bed, and he goes, I heard what you did. And I'm like, yeah. I'm thinking, man, I'm getting a beating. He's going to beat the snot out of me, And he goes, did you learn anything? I said, yeah, don't talk back to mom. He goes, good. And he got up and walked out. Like, because he knew the beating I just got was worse than anything he could do. And so, yeah, that was a fun story. Yeah. And
My mom always had the fastest hands in the house. She'd
Yeah.
hit my cheek first minute anything that she didn't like come out of my mouth.
oh, yeah. My mom's weapon of
Didn't matter
choice
how tall I
was that dang plastic fly swatter with the metal wire handle. Man,
Oh,
she
yeah.
loved using those. She'd bend one and have to bend it back. You know, she'd tear me up. She'd tear me up, and I deserved every last one of them. Uh, but this was before the days when you call, CPS like, my mom and dad beat me. I'm like, because if I'd have called them, my mom and dad beat me, they'd be like, what'd you do? I would tell them, and they're like, well, you deserve it. Hang up the phone, you little brat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
my,
crazy.
my mom had a nice big thick like 2x4 piece of wood, and it was carved into the shape of an old grandma with a dress. And she called it Grandma Granny, and so you'd hold it where the grandma's head was, and it'd just be
Yeah.
boom.
Whack. Oh,
I'm not
Yeah.
sure what Pale Rider there is talking about at the bottom, but probably not.
What? Randy's a very smart man.
Randy's a very smart man.
Oh, he might be referring to me talking back to my mother. Yeah.
Yeah.
That probably has to do with something like that.
My mother was slow as all hell. No, my mother was not slow. It was a lot of things, and in the end, I did not. Even after I left the house, I did not like her a whole lot. She was never slow.
Yeah. It's funny. My mom was short and heavy set, like very heavy
We
set.
don't say beating, Chris. We call it whooping. Ass
Yeah,
whooping.
whooping. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, she.
That's how we called it the Gen
Yeah.
X. It's an ass whooping.
Yeah, but
There's
she
a
was
difference
quick.
between beating and ass whooping, and
Yeah.
we make the fucking difference. You're getting a beating; it's out of nowhere, and it's just out of rage.
Yeah.
A whooping is you did what, you motherfucker, and you see
I
that
earned it.
they're trying to keep that cool, that tone, and that punishment feels like a punishment. It's not
Yeah.
a beating. It's
And
a-
I earned every last one of them that I got. I'll tell you that. That's the truth.
Mhm.
Well, I remember there was this one time. It was 4th of July, and my mom would wear these muumuus. I don't know if you're familiar with like a muumuu dress, but it's not quite a nightgown, but it's like a floral print muumuu. She would wear these things. It was 4th of July. We went over to my brother's house, and one of my other brothers always brought the fireworks. Now, what he would do is he would drive down to Tennessee and get those illegal fireworks. Those ones that aren't allowed in the state. He would buy those, and so we had those things. Wow, we got a backer.
Thank you.
Yeah, and but it was funny because we had those, and of course, we're rednecks up in Indiana. We never did anything like we buy the expensive fireworks, but we don't buy the thing to shoot them out of. We make that, so we put it in a cinder block, a pipe, and we were shooting them off. And one of the fireworks we dropped in there, and that pipe falls over, and that mortar shoots out and goes under this the park bench that was in the backyard, and explodes right under my mom's muumuu. And I mean, I saw that woman jump up off of that picnic picnic table faster than I'd ever seen anyone move. And she was just hollering and screaming at us, and I mean, we just could not stop laughing. I mean, and I saw my mom smack my grown brothers. My grown brothers had kids of their own, and they still got a whooping.
You're never too old for a whooping.
Yeah, but we laughed the whole time. Couldn't help it.
Yeah, I think, the only time me or my brother ever really talked back to my mother, I think, was one time my brother, when he was really, like 19, 20 or something like that, young, 18, during that young rebellious phase, he was always coming home late at night, leaving early, coming home late, stuff like that, running. And he was home one day, and he said something to mom. I remember he cussed at her or something. And I remember my dad going up, grabbing him, putting him up basically against the wall, and said, "You do not talk to your mother in that way."
Yeah.
Or something like that. And he very quickly was like, "Sorry, mom."
Yeah.
He calmed his butt down.
But I gotta tell you, that woman, she fed my love for comic books because she wanted me to be an artist, and she knew I loved drawing comics. She encouraged me to send work off to Marvel and all kinds of stuff like that. And I remember she would drive me every week to go to the comic shop, and she'd wait outside while I went in and spent hours buying books, picking through the books with my allowance and the money I'd made.
Yeah,
And I remember
we
when
definitely
the
grew up in different times with different parents. I'll tell you that.
yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
But she I remember when the death of Superman was happening, and I wanted a first printing of that so bad. And she took me to the comic book store early to get in line, and it was snowing, like not like normal snow, but like that nasty, wet, heavy stuff that wasn't white, but it was like slushy material all over the ground. And she got out in that and drove me so I could go get that book, stay in line, and get that book. And she fed my love for comics, and um, you know, uh, she was a good woman. She was a good woman, and I learned my lesson. I didn't talk back to Bertha anymore. That was for dang sure.
I don't think I ever learned my lesson. I kept getting slapped, but she had fast hands. But I grew up with no love of comics in my house. We had the Batman TV show that the older kids watched that I remember as a young kid still seeing on television.
Yeah.
But I was forbidden from having superhero books for years
Oh my.
until shoot, probably pretty close to into my high school. Probably just as I was going into high school. And the reason I was allowed superhero comics is because my mom caught me with a Twilight Zone digest that had a guy making a deal with the devil.
Oh yeah,
And she said she'd rather have me buying those violent superhero books. And at the time, the comics were nothing compared to what they are now.
yeah,
And
yeah,
she'd rather have me buying those violent superhero books than be picking up that demonistic Twilight Zone book. So
yeah.
on a agreement, I burned the. If she said if you burn that digest, throw it into the fire, I'll let you buy superhero books. And I looked at it, and went, threw it
Let's do it.
right in the
Let's do
fire.
this. Yeah,
Yep. I
yeah. That's
went and bought
crazy.
was able to buy superhero books from that. But at that
Yeah.
point,
What
I
year?
I was stopping at the library, coming home all the time, and reading up on comic history and the
Yeah,
superheroes and all of that.
yeah.
I knew who the majority of the characters were before I even started buying the books. So the first
Oh,
book I bought was a reprint book of Legion of Superheroes,
sweet.
and I believe Shazam #1 because I couldn't believe Captain Marvel was back out because I had read that Captain Marvel was super rare. That was probably in the late '70s.
Late '70s. See, I wasn't
Yeah,
I wasn't born yet. Wasn't born yet. So my experience with comics, I really got into it in the early to mid '90s. Was when I, really was as a teenager being able to do that. But my
yeah, but
first comic I ever got, I was 5 years old. I had gotten, I was really in love with He-Man at the time,
yeah,
and as many 5-year-old boys were, and I would wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to watch the He-Man cartoon before my dad went to work, and he made mention to one of his coworkers that I really love that show because his coworker came over to pick him up for work one day, saw me up at 4 o'clock in the morning watching it. He goes, he wakes up religiously just to watch that show. Then he'll drink some chocolate milk and go back to sleep on the floor. And so his friend was a comic book guy, loved comic books, and gave him a couple comic books to give to me. And I remember that that book, one of the ones that I got, spoke to me. It was Mike Zeck's run of Secret Wars. Secret Wars, I believe #4, where the
wow,
Hulk, is holding up the, beneath a, you know,
mhm,
a ton of brick. The
mhm.
Hulk, and all that, and all these heroes are kind of cowering under their, because but the Hulk's saving all of them, and that made me fall in love with comics right there. And so my whole life from that point was comics, comics, comics. Even when I got into music, I figured music was an easier way to pick up girls, so I really focused on that. And but yeah, so did music for a while, but man, I just loved comics. My love for comics has never stopped. Started at 5, and here I am, 40, almost 42.
It took my parents years to get it in their head that I was into comics and into doing that artwork. They cut me down to one piece of notebook paper, two pieces of notebook paper a day. So I learned really quick how to draw a plus sign through it and have four different panels to
Oh
draw on,
wow, cool.
and then started telling stories there. But before that, I was tearing through all the notebook paper that they
Right,
had
yeah.
in reserve and drawing like crazy. My dad, at one point, literally dragged me out of our house. So there were a group of people that were going down our road at the time digging ditches. And he pointed at them and said, I would rather see you do that than have you draw your funny pictures.
Wow. Jeez.
And then the attitude slowly changed until right before I left the house. My dad bought me a set of paints and told me that because he had caught me drawing on the walls,
Yeah.
not quite graffiti, but pictures,
Yeah.
because I was running out of paper. So he bought me a set of paints and told me that there was one wall in my room that I could paint, that I could do a collage on. So I was sitting there learning how to paint on my bedroom wall, spending hours doing like Scrooge McDuck. And that was
Yeah.
before I was able to buy superhero books.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember I was, mom and dad there's a diner back home called the Breakfast House. They were open 24 hours. And my mom and dad would go hang out with their friends at the diner and stay till like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning sometimes. They were night owls. And they would have me with them as a 3, 4, 5-year-old. And in order to occupy me, my mom would slide me a napkin and a pen. So I would scribble and start to draw.
There you
And those
go.
pictures turned from scribbles into stick figures,
Yep.
started adding clothes to them and stuff
Yep.
like that.
Yep.
But my mom grew up, she was always artistic. She played the steel guitar, she sang, she did all that stuff, but she wound up getting pregnant at 17 and marrying this guy who was just a complete jerk and abused her, abused the kids, cheated on her all the time, and left her at home, And so she wasn't able to ever pursue any of those artistic things. And so Bertha, vicariously through me, like encouraged my art and doing that. She wanted me to be able to
cool.
make a living on my art.
Sure.
And, I'm the artist I am today because of her,
Yeah.
because of what she invested in me.
Well, I'm kind of the artist I am today, despite my parents.
Despite your parents.
Yeah.
It's funny how, here we are, both writers and artists making comics, but we come from vastly different backgrounds.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's what's beautiful about comics. Somehow every one of us that's into comics has found our way there some way, and we all have a story about that. And
Yeah.
I think the story behind the stories are just as interesting as the ones that we're telling in the books sometimes.
Sure.
So,
Yep.
Let's see.
So hey, folks, invest in that long shots campaign.
yeah.
Mhm. We're done. Sugar Rush. Yeah. Let's see. I'll put it in there. There's the little Sugar Rush in the corner.
I love it.
I actually don't really have any new stories. I haven't really thought of any to tell for this. I did get a compliment yesterday or last night on my hair. I don't know what is it. I don't know what it is with my hair. I've been getting compliments on it lately a lot.
Yeah, we don't get guys with long hair as much anymore. So yeah.
Yeah.
Because like a girl came up to me last night and was saying like how she every time she sees me she wants to put my hair in curls. And about like I was like, oh, okay.
Is that code
that's
for something?
That is
Yeah.
something else.
You know it is. Yeah.
She's like,
Yeah.
well, no. She's like, it's.
She wants an evening.
You have such great hair, and
She wants you to be one of the girls.
Your hair has more oomph than mine, and it's so great looking.
She just wants to run her fingers through it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's like the one time I went and seen a female, friend of mine. This has been a little while back. Like that was one of the first things she did. She's like, "Oh my gosh, look at your hair!" And then ran her hand through it. And what is with people in my hair?
Hey, if you got girls willing to touch you, don't complain about it, man.
Yeah, I guess it's a plus. Like,
Yeah.
like I appreciate the compliments. It makes me feel good, but it's like,
Yeah.
okay, apparently there's something nice about my
Bring
hair.
them on, man. Bring on the compliments, man.
Yeah, it's not something I get too often, so I'll take it.
Whatever works for you.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: we've got 52 copies of each one of these books going out, and we have 3,000.
Yeah.
53 copies, and we got 3,000 of them. We need more people to jump on this thing.
Lots
Yes.
more people.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot more.
Yeah.
Let's see. Howard says, my dad was a horse trainer, and the first paints I got were a case of art material left in an intact room at the track.
Oh, cool.
Story. Gosh dang it. I don't have no
Hey,
stories.
I think Randy and I have given tons of stories today.
They just want to embarrass me in front of you.
I got lots of stories. I got lots of stories.
Lots
They
of
just
stories.
want me to tell something embarrassing to embarrass myself in front of you guys. Don't. I'm not embarrassing myself in front of Randy.
You don't have to worry
I
about
wouldn't want to
embarrassing
do that
yourself
either.
in front of me. I ran a chain of adult bookstores for quite a few years. There's nothing you could do that would embarrass me.
Tell the true story of my love shot. There is no true story behind that. It's not mine.
Yeah. He's called Sugar Cane. He's gonna start streaming soon.
Sugarcane.
Ain't mine.
Sure.
I'm like Michael Jackson. The kid ain't mine or whatever. Billie
Billie
Jean.
Jean is not my lover. She's just a girl. I am the one.
I bet Billie Jean still sits there now laughing. I got a song named after me.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. It's good stuff, man.
Just for claiming a love child.
But no, I have a story to tell. Yeah, I told him the other day about finding a tampon at the store the other day.
Sheesh.
Oh yeah, right on. It was on the shelf. I worked the frozen department at the food
Please
store
tell me it
there.
wasn't used.
It was.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I'm like,
Oh.
what kind of savages are these people that come
People
in
are
here?
gross. They're like to act like they're
disgusting.
not, but
Was it at a Walmart?
No. That's
Oh.
we're just a little Martin's food store.
Okay.
Yeah. and it's
That
like-
sounds like something you'd find in a.
Yeah.
yeah, it's an
Yeah.
everyday thing in Walmart in the States.
Yeah, that would be that's something that would happen to me at Walmart, you know?
Because I've never seen a Walmart like that, dude, before. Like when I started seeing Red showing those Walmart thing, I'm like, what the fuck is that? It's like the Twilight Zone for me. It's like Walmart is clean and quiet, and it's a store. And I see what's going on and the people going into those stores, and I'm like, holy goddamn shit.
So many of these large chains took advantage of the COVID situation so that they didn't have to stay open 24 hours. Because
Yeah.
Walmart was staying open 24 hours. All of these other box stores were starting to stay open 24. But when COVID happened, it's like, oh, phew, finally we can keep the weirdos out. We're shutting at 10.
Yeah.
So,
I'll tell you what, nothing's quite as fun.
and they've never reopened. I mean, they've
Yeah,
never
we-
gone
we-
24 cents.
We shut our doors at 10 before COVID, and it was just simply because it wasn't worth it in terms of money. We were, compared to the money we were getting from the customers coming in versus
Yeah.
like how much theft was happening.
Yeah.
It was not worth it in the end.
Well, I just found out that one of my cover artists that did a cover and a pinup for this next hybrids campaign that's launching. It's in sign up right now. Just got a job at Marvel.
Oh wow.
Oh,
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
nice. Always good to get work.
Yeah, he's a fantastic artist.
be right up there. Yeah.
That sounds great.
I was going to turn that into a almanac jab, but I decided not to.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you could. You could do it.
Let's see. Hobby Lobby has people that shot in the aisles all the time. It's nasty. Yeah, I'm glad
That's
in a way.
what
they're
do you mean
not-
by shot in the aisles? Are
That's
we
true.
talking human
There's
bodily
several
function
different-
shot, or are we talking gun shot?
Yeah, I guess there's multiple different ways that could be took.
Or did he misspell shot?
It could be too.
Could be shooting up.
We're asking for clarification. Yeah, it could be
He
shoot
sent
up.
it up.
Yeah,
Oh,
But,
shit, yeah.
all except for Sundays.
Yeah. Well, it really depends on the neighborhood you're in, I guess.
Yeah. I was gonna say
Hobby Lobby I
have
go to,
we had a
bunch of
Chuck E.
rich people.
Cheese up here that had that kind of
Oh, yeah.
reputation.
Yeah.
Shit. Oh,
We-
yeah.
We had that at Walmart a couple times.
my
Oh well. Like I said, I used to run a chain of adult bookstores, and this was the period right
Lord.
before AIDS came up, and we used to have quarter booths in the back that showed 8mm film, and we got all sorts of gifts back there, and some of them were finger painted.
oh god, my wife used to work at the public library, and they've caught people staring at women through the stacks, uh, manually pleasuring themselves and stuff like that. So yeah, and they found drug paraphernalia in the bathrooms, and man, just you'd be surprised. I mean, there are a lot of degenerates out there.
Yes, there are. Chris Fisk in the chat gave a clarification there. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
think
see
the
that.
proper spelling on that was shat, SHAT.
Yeah, I'm glad that they're not leaving crack pipes in my department anymore. They were doing that. I did have that happen once or twice. I was like, oh my gosh, people. I freaked out when I first came across it because at first I was like, oh, what is that? Is that like? At first I thought it was like a piece of glass that came from maybe one of the lights or something like that. I was like, did something happen? Did a tube get busted or what is that? And
We don't have any neon around here. What the heck?
I was like, what is this? And I was like, oh. I was like, oh god, I touched it. It's on my head. Oh, my fingerprints are on it. What if it comes?
Oh my gosh.
They're freaking out.
Oh,
Like,
dude, it's
Yeah.
like somebody I know found at work. They found a bag in the toilet in the bathroom, so they think they're gonna take a look at it, trying to locate the person. Opens the thing, it's loaded with dildos, condoms, and this
Oh
and
my.
butt plugs, and I'm like, what the hell were they doing in that bathroom?
I'm telling you, that'd be my last day at work. That'd be my last day at work.
had a here you go, Pale. I'll
And
pay
people
you.
don't forget to sub, like, and share.
I don't. Well, no, I
Yeah.
don't think I told this story.
Hey,
I'll tell
kids.
this real quick one. So I went. This one actually happened at Martin's. So this was a long while back. Had a customer come in, and she was walking around. She's actually a regular. She's been in since then. She comes in every so often, I think. She came around, was looking around, doing her shopping, and then she goes and tries to use the bathroom. Doors. This was when we only had one bathroom at the bottom. She couldn't get in, and asks, and they're like, "Well, it's being occupied." So she goes over to our place where the floor cleaner people who wax the floors and everything have their station set up. Takes one of the buckets and just goes and uses it.
Oh my gosh.
It's a big poop in the
Holy
bucket
smokes, man.
and everything just right there. Just and then gets done. I guess obviously she doesn't wipe or nothing. Just gets up, goes all
Oh
back up,
gosh.
goes back, and continues shopping. And everybody just what just happened? Like what? Like that blew my mind that she continued shopping and then she came back and kept being a regular at the store. Like when it happened at Walmart, because it was really bad at Walmart, they like took their hands and ran it all down the aisle, like completely destroyed like the chip aisle and stuff. Like those people never came back. I'm pretty sure they were on drugs or something.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that blew my mind. I was like, what? Yeah, some people I don't know. Let's see.
Golly, man, it just like what some people do. Yeah.
Well, Pale Rider might have been one of the people who your wife had to see there.
But why do you think it's we always get so shocked when we find out that those I'll say superstars, but those fake people when we realize how shitty they can be, or those SJWs, calling like oh let's and finding out that they're the worst degenerates there ever been, like the ones they're advocating for to stop. They are.
Yeah.
They are
Well,
the
yeah,
women abusers. They are
that's
the
called-
this. They are. Yeah. It's like
called
the monster
misdirection.
coming here will never say they're the monster. They'll say, "Look at that monster over there," while they fuck you over.
Well, it was brought to my attention because I didn't watch many of various shows, but because it's late and the content just wasn't my bag, and but I heard that he had a segment called the Grift of the Week, and it's like, it's funny that that people think that way. Like most people don't think, how is someone going to screw me over, or how can I screw someone else over? But usually the people that are the grifters try to point out the other grifters
Yep.
as a misdirection. The people that are the abusers
Calling people Nazis
they
or
try
stuff
to
like that. It's the same thing, yeah.
yeah, and so yeah, the abusers try to point out other abusers to draw attention away from their own activity. And
Be afraid of that person.
Yeah, then
I'm
who
not
knew?
a monster. I'm the
Who
good
knew at
one.
the
That's
time?
the monster.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's always the same thing. Yeah. That's why I always say one thing there. It's when you find one of those, just let it be. They will fuck themselves over. If you try to argue with them, they'll bring you down to their levels, and you're fucked.
yeah,
Just move on.
All right. Oh wow, it's almost been 3 hours.
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, we need to
Yes,
wrap
sir.
this one
Did
up.
you ever play that video?
Oh, the trailer here?
Oh,
No,
it's a real
No.
one.
no. I
So
haven't
run
played
it.
All right.
No, come on. Ready. Let's go. No, you do the bender voice. Let's go. Ready.
One dream turned into a fiasco.
What could go wrong?
What indeed?
And the rare and unique free staple books.
Still love that cover.
Yeah,
Great cover.
Yep.
All right. Oh, nice. Nicely done. Bring it back. There we go.
yeah. You can buy in for just $25, 9 books, man. Great deal.
Yep.
And you're sure not to. You're sure to walk out with your money's worth.
Oh, soul. Always giving me hell. Yeah, I'm certainly going to back it. Yeah, because I mean, $25. That's a hell of a deal. And even though I've got pretty much most of these books already, but hey, if it helps out, I'll back. Huh. Let's see.
Yeah, I sincerely doubt you're going to find comics of better quality out there.
Can't wait
And
for our
printing
first-
quality and content quality. Every book is 32 pages. Majority of them are comics. I think there's maybe 2 ads in each book.
I mean, you're looking at 288 pages for $25.
Yeah, that's the probably the best price I probably came across on
It's-
crowdfunding.
It's just under 9 cents a page that you're paying
There you
for
go.
that book. For that, I mean, come on, that's as good a deal as you get buying a Marvel book or DC book. Better deal.
Better deal. Yeah.
Better deal.
Yeah, and with this many different books, with different types, you're bound to find something that you'll really like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pick up at least. I'm gonna at least go 25, but I'll make it higher. Yeah. But let me see. Yeah, Fist says he can't wait for his perks to arrive. It's an insanely good deal, folks. And Soul says if you're in the U.S., that's a great deal. Oh, excuse me. I guess, I guess with the shipping, that's going to be hard
Yeah.
on
Well,
international.
yeah, shipping outside of the U.S. is getting expensive. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
that always sucks.
It's unfortunate, but that's how it is.
yeah, it is.
Gas prices go up, shipping costs go up. We got a
Yeah.
paper shortage, that causes prices to go up. It's and we're still trying to offer as independent creators and small publishers, trying to offer a lot of value to the reader, to the fan, because that's what we want to do. Even though these prices are going up, we're still trying to offer a good value to everybody that we can.
All right, gentlemen. I feel like I've kept you long enough. It's been over 3 hours. I figure you guys got things to do, and I figure I'm keeping you. I better start to wrap this thing up. All right. So let's see, Miss. I would say I'm surprised. Yeah, we had a lot of people in the chat talking, and they were pretty light on the roasting. I guess they were intimidated by Luke's Godfather voice.
Yeah,
Could be it. That could be it.
it's really hard to roast the two guys that almost died.
And not,
Yeah.
not just that,
Yeah.
it's also hard to roast the people that just got roasted
Yeah.
in a way, in the
Yeah,
worst way.
not only did we almost die, we got
Roasted
taken for
twice.
a lot of money.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
taken for a ride and
Roasted and burned. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yep.
it's
yeah.
true.
So
And
we
what's
do
up, Scott?
appreciate
Joining at the end,
everyone
but
being nice.
always good to see you.
Yes.
No,
What's
there's
up, Darius?
Wrap
Wrap
it up.
it up.
All right. Then what is this now?
That's for the closing, so keep going.
All right. So, all right, we'll do our final words. We'll start with Randy there at the bottom.
Final words.
Yeah, anything you want to say here?
Well, hey, you can catch me on Facebook. You can catch me especially on the Raging 2 network now. We're podcasting 3 nights a week, or three days a week. On Tuesday nights, we do Dispatches from Outside the Box, where I co-host with C. Michael Lanning and Stone Abdullah. And then Wednesday night is my turn to rant and do some news with the Zimcast, where we cover news and pop opinion and that kind of stuff. Then Sunday mornings, we try to get a little bit more lighter and whimsical and fun, where we talk about our passion in a lighthearted, fun way. We try to put the fun back in funny books, is what I like to say, for the Sunday funnies. That's at 9 a.m. on Sunday morning. And all of that is archived over at the Raging 2 YouTube network. So if you haven't gone over there and subscribed yet, please do so. So we are, that entire channel is building up like crazy, and there'll be a lot more shows announced as we go along. But as final words go, I just want to tell everybody to follow their passion and to keep a hold of their dreams, and don't let any obstacles get in the way. Figure it out, especially in this business. This business is filled with a bunch of great enterprising entrepreneurs and a few scumbags. There's a few scumbags out there that crowdfunding is a great form right now, but there's more stuff coming, and to keep your eyes and ears open. Don't be afraid to try different things. That's the whole thing behind this Long Shots campaign, is we were chasing a dream and we got caught up into a fiasco, and we spent money. We published our books out of our own pocket, and it didn't go where we intended it to go, but we still want these books to get out to the masses, and for folks to see them and to see the quality that we did. It bothers me constantly that what could have been would have been tremendous, and it would have literally changed the industry if only it was real. And Dojo's got one more segment on this that he's going to do, at least one that's going to give a definite timeline, because he's learned so much since the last one, and your eyes are going to be even wider when he's done doing that program, because this is a really bizarre story that's really deep and very bent, in my opinion. And you really need to give a thought to pitching into that Long Shots campaign and helping us out. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And Mr. Luke.
Yeah, you can find me at lukestonestudios.com. My website serves as kind of a link tree where you can find all of my social media and YouTube stuff, and even some of my campaigns have links up there. There's even some links to some of the music that I've done in the past, so you'll be able to hear what I used to be able to play like. Can't do that anymore, but that stuff's still up there. So yeah, go to my website, lukestonestudios.com. I do a show on the Raging 2 network called Nerd Bacon every Thursday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, and so you can check that out. And all that's, I sometimes pop in on the Zimcast and everybody else's show. I I try to go as many places as they'll have me. So I have a lot of fun with that stuff. Always like to get things off a topic, and you know, inject my ADHD. So yeah, that's a lot of fun. But my final thoughts for everyone is, just try to leave the wood pile a bit higher than you found it. Build more than you tear down. That's kind of my motto, and I think that's what we should do. There's a lot of negative out there, but you can choose to be positive. Let that positivity shine.
All right, Mr. Sims.
Yes, don't forget to sub, like, and share. 500 sub here on this channel gets you a chance to win original art and a heavy metal sketch cover of issue number 300 anniversary special. At 1,000, well, it gets Chris in a red dress and running like crazy with, Pale Rider behind him in the Barbie G going. Meep, meep.
Ooh.
So you don't want to miss that out. And go check out this wonderful campaign here, and go check out Telson and Adverse 2 at 73% right now, looking to get fully funded before the end of the month. The first month of funding, when we unlock one free print for every physical book. And the thing that I want to share with you now before we close is I'm working on the animation for Telson and Adverse 3 promo video.
And we'll bring this up.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks, Mr. Randy and Luke.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
And we'll watch Mr. Sims' video. Oh, whoops, that was it.
That's it. It's just a little whip.
That was it.
I thought it was going to be longer. I thought it was going to be like a nice little ending and everything. Oh, okay. All right. Well, thanks.
Short
Thanks
and
everybody,
sweet.
as I said in the chat, for joining us. Always appreciated. And let's see, Monday, we're having on Mr. Feed and launching Red Eyes 3. Or yeah. Oh. All right. Didn't get enough sleep. All right. So see y'all later on the next one.